Greetings, fellow adventurers, and welcome to Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We are Twitch affiliates and proudly sponsored by VentureSense. Click the link below, check out their amazing products, and while spending time with us in the chat, obey all the rules and listen to your moderators. While watching our stream, you are earning 2 currencies. HotA points are linked to the mini-games in the chat, and you can use them to buy extra raffle tickets when we give away free merchandise. Loyalty points are used for interacting with our show. You can buy inspiration points or health potions for the Dungeon Master or for your favorite player. There are several Twitch commands that you will need to be familiar with in our chat. Refer to the panel below if you forget them, or ask a moderator for help. These commands are how you play our mini-games, enter the giveaways, or request songs for the channel playlist. If you enjoy our content, clicking the follow button will notify you when our channel goes live. Join the HotA family by becoming a subscriber, and you get several benefits. A custom icon, unique emote, increased chances of winning in all mini-games, access to a private chat room, and free song requests. The following program features adults using adult language. You have been warned. Alright, and we are live. Welcome everybody to HotA, Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Season 1. We are on Episode 12, and we are back.
Yes!
We had a 3-week break of one-shots, but all of our players are here, and we're ready to continue our story, and we want to thank everybody for being here with us and being patient with us during our absence. So, we have our players who are gathered with us, so we're going to go around the table. In case you guys forgot who they are and they can introduce themselves, we'll start with Kyle.
Oh, that's me. All right. Yeah, lead it off. Lead it off strong, right? What's up, everyone? Kyle here from York, Pennsylvania. We had a long break here. We had some one-shots, some wizard cards, some turtle thing. I don't know. All kinds of crazy stuff happened, but it's good to be back. I'm taking off the DM hat, putting back on my player hat because I'm back as everyone's favorite halfling bard. Finley Shenanigans is back in the action. I'm ready to get back with my guys here, and then let's see what these horsemen are bringing. But before we get into all that, we got to get to our next player, which I think I always point this way. I think that's the correct direction, so we're gonna go with that.
You're left.
Whatever way. But hey, he means me. It's AJ, your friend here. I'm now slightly transferred to a new location, but I'm set up and good to go this time. And I play the High Elf Wizard Rin and Oraman, the intellectual, problem-solving, magic-wielding elf of the party, and I look forward to bringing back my magical flair as well as my nefarious twin. Hopefully,
God.
Forgot about Nier. Okay.
Oh, who could get Nier? But yes, that's me.
All right, everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Dylan Sierra, and I play everyone's usually favorite grumpy old man with a large sword, but tonight I guess I'm playing a newt, since that's how we left me.
It's a good thing we had
section.
that adult warning for you and your large sword, you know.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'm a married man, you know?
You were. I mean, you're widowed right now.
Oh wow!
Too soon.
Damn.
Wow,
Too
burn!
soon.
Damn, Rin! Jesus!
Shots fired.
Early yet?
Okay. Oh, Kyle, your key's getting all crazy.
And there's me. Hi, I am Connor, and I am playing Urgra, the half-orc ranger. And I'm so glad to be back, because I've been gone for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It's been a while.
Welcome back, brother.
The
Welcome,
Blue
welcome.
Eyes half-orc ranger.
And I am your humble dungeon master, DM Steele. That's my name, Sean Steele. Live in Idaho. We have a lot of hype for this week, for this game. You guys have been building up a lot for what's going to be happening. So we are still in day 3 in game. At the end of the week is projected coming of the 4th Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They have been bringing doom and destruction and have left a lot of pain and misery in their wake. You guys have been assembled along with many other adventurers to make a formidable force for the impending doom that is approaching. So you guys have spent the last 11 episodes learning about the capital and the NPCs and what's going on. So there is a war council meeting that you are expecting at the end of the night. Dilly, subscriber, thank you.
Hey.
And there's a bunch of stuff you guys are going to be doing in the meantime. But let's get everybody caught up. Let's do a quick recap. Then we'll throw out any announcements that we have, and then we will jump right into our game.
All right. So last time, episode 11, Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We had traveled to a mine because we were told one of the new inventions in this world is a sort of simulator where we can battle any sort of monster that can kind of be found in, say, the monster manual, in preparation to work on our teamwork, work on certain strategies, in preparation for this horrible horseman that is coming. So in the first episode of this campaign, we battled an ancient red dragon, and we defeated it. Hoorah. However, we've been told that we cannot use it again until we found the source of the power of the simulator, which are these crystals that were coming from this mine. However, that mine had been taken over by a bunch of trolls. The last time we confronted these trolls, they successfully ambushed us because we're awesome like that. But we were eventually victorious, and we got all the crystals back, and we were basically giving a report to the Revenant, who sort of gave us the job. And Urgra said hi to her little friend Jojo, the lemur familiar of the Archmage
Siphon.
Siphon.
Kurt's got a little short with Master Siphon, and in response, Siphon turned him into a newt. And then,
I did nothing.
And then made him disappear. It's all online. You guys can judge for yourself. We welcome your comment. But yeah, so that's the cliffhanger we held off on. Kurt is a newt, and we don't know where he is at the moment. We are still in the room with Master Siphon.
Okay.
We're mostly in his good graces because we just completed a mission for him.
Yes.
So let's see how this works out.
And he gave you guys 600 gold pieces for clearing out the trolls. Alrighty. Now let's do some announcements. We should do announcements first, so I forgot. All right, so announcements. Every week, Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, we play this campaign. On Sundays, go ahead and plug that, Andrew.
Yes, our other campaign is Sunday, again, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, which you will find us playing another D&D game called Ages Past, where I am the DM, and we have one shared player in here now, Connor, who just joined us last Sunday. So yay, we got the Kermit yay
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
That's pretty solid.
There's 3 other players there too. But yes, come and join. And of course, anytime you spend there, you accumulate total points and loyalty points, which you can spend here. So it's a win-win for all of us. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and we also have began our interviewing for players for Season 2 of HotA. So they're going to be playing the same storyline. And it's going to be on Mondays during the day, so it'll probably be a couple months before that kicks off, but be staying tuned to find out who they are and what their characters are going to be. We'll be releasing more detailed information once we get closer to that.
It's exciting.
If you haven't yet, give us a follow so you guys get notified when we go live. It really helps out the channel. If you want to get to know us, we'd love to get to know you. Jump in our Discord channel, and you can get teaser information and talk with myself and the players throughout the week. Alrighty, that's pretty much it. Let's just jump right into it. Alright, so Finley, you are on the tensor disc, still kind of tired. Rin and Urgra, you were talking with Grandmaster Siphon. Kurtz was kind of having a scuffle with him, and in a show of power, he transformed Kurtz into a newt. And then you guys were saying that he just needed some space, so he jokingly teleported him away. You don't know where Kurtz has disappeared to. You didn't get, like, malice intent from him. It was more just a show of force that, you know, like, you don't talk back to this guy. So that's where we left off. What would you guys like to do?
Would it be so presumptuous for me to ask? Could you tell me where you sent our friend, just so we can retrieve him?
He is nearby. I thought the space was a great idea. Maybe he can kind of cool off for a bit. He should not be in any harm.
Okay. So he's not in outer space then?
No. He is nearby, just outside the capital. The effects should wear off very, very soon.
Send me into the wild and get eaten by a crow or something.
That's fine if you do. The 1 damage will pop you out.
Yeah, the effects should wear off very, very soon.
He's in the middle like a crocodile and maybe... all right, thank you. Well then, I guess we'll leave you with Jojo, right, Urgra? Yes? Urgra?
Sure.
You're staring at Jojo. Urgra.
Thank you, Rin. I am able to hear you talking.
So, he did put Jojo into the cage, kind of uncompassionately, and that you guys were kind of reacting a little curious about that last time, but you didn't say if you wanted to do anything.
Out of curiosity, Master Siphon, you are the Maester of Abjuration, correct?
I am curious. What have you heard about me? Abjuration is you know, I am the Grandmaster over the Abjuration part of the school. Pretty much that just means I like to protect stuff. And he kind of grins at the at the actions that he just committed while saying this. But what have you guys heard about me?
Not too much. I've heard that you are friendly with Miss Honey, who we are also have acquaintances with. But I was just wondering, and here she reaches into her, we have a bag of holding, right?
Yes, my bag of holding, yeah.
So she motions Ren forward, and she goes into the bag of holding, and she pulls out an enchanted piece of +1 chainmail. I was wondering if you might be interested in something like this.
Interested in it? For what?
Well, forgive me if I speak a little bit out of turn, but you do seem to have your hands rather full, what with the upcoming Horsemen and all the other responsibilities. I do have a little concern about your friend Jojo over there. You seemed slightly uncertain when it came to him, for instance, eating anything sugary.
Yes, Jojo can definitely be more than a handful. I love him to death, but he can be a bit much.
Well, I was wondering if perhaps I might be able to take him off your hands and some sort of recompense give you this artifact to sort of ease the separation.
I don't know if Jojo would even want to be away from me. I mean, I'm glad you had fun with him. I don't know, and he'll kind of go over to the door and he'll unlock it and come here, Jojo, and Jojo will kind of reluctantly climb up onto his shoulder and he'll kind of look at him and Jojo, what do you think? And he'll kind of look at you and look at Jojo. Give me an animal handling check.
Right.
And first roll.
Here we go.
Right.
28.
Ooh, a 28. All right, so what are your intentions with this lemur?
What are my intentions?
Yeah, like, what are you trying to do?
Intentions with this monkey?
I would imagine Urgra is looking at him with very soulful eyes, just trying to convey. She's not going to actually say much aside from Jojo. If you would like, I think that Master Siphon may be considering allowing you to come with me if that is something that you would like to do.
Okay.
The choice is yours.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage since you rolled a 28 on your animal handling.
Hot damn.
Nice.
Two nat ones, here we come.
Yeah.
Oh!
Close, jeez.
Oh gosh!
Okay, so you actually matched what I rolled. So you met the DC. So, if you are wanting Jojo, he is going to be willing to come over to you. But I'm curious how you're going to handle the interaction with Master Siphon. So he will look at you and he'll. Are you handing him the chainmail?
I have it just out on the floor.
Okay, so he'll pick it up and kind of look at it, and he'll say, "We probably have a wizard that could use this, and we have the upcoming battle. So this could definitely be put to good use. But is
sorry, Rids are very confused
there-
at that point, but go on.
I would feel more comfortable with this if I could have you do a task for me in the future. Just kind of have it be a blank check for
A favor.
a favor essentially, and for the favor, the chainmail, I think that would be a fair trade for my beloved Jojo.
Is that really worth a monkey?
This monkey's gonna save your life today, Kurt.
Yeah,
Just
can I quietly take Urgra away from Jojo for a moment, just to kind of
Sure.
Urgra, a tiny moment, please.
Yeah, you guys can talk to us, so that's fine.
Urgra. This is technically his familiar to some degree. You do realize that just with my Orion, he could spy on us through Jojo.
Well, no, he already told us earlier that this is not a magical familiar. It's simply an animal.
He bamped him out of existence into the cage. Yes, trust me, there is some magical tie between him and the monkey.
But the monkey's sad.
The monkey. Do you truly know that he's sad, or perhaps he just had a bad day? He might have good days and bad days. He's off on a sugar high, and then suddenly he drops. I'm sure he gets depressed after the sugar low, but
Aren't elves supposed to be very one with nature and animals and all that sort of thing?
I'm not a wood elf.
Okay, so I'll take that as a no.
But are all orcs savage brutes that like to smear blood on their face?
For a good amount of them, yes.
Half orcs, then.
That's racist.
In any case, I can't help but think that you noticed that that lemur was very despondent when he was sent back to a cage.
Well, cages are not necessarily the nicest places, certainly, but I mean, it's a pet, and pets have places that they are, usually put into when not allowed to roam freely in case they cause mischief. He could go out, he could find more sugar, cause mayhem. Perhaps there's a reason behind him going back into the cage. You don't know the history.
Well, what would you advise that I do, Rin?
Do you have any means to eradicate magic, dispel it?
Well,
Do I?
Do you have dispel magic?
Not in so many words. No.
No. All right. Finley on the. I go. Finley. Poke the Finley.
So while this is all going on, when Kurtz gets nuded and poofied away, what happens to the disc? Because he's connected to it. Does it just like hover there without moving, or does it just take off in a random direction, or do I drop to the ground? Like where's my air mattress right now? Literally,
it disappeared.
Air mattress.
It disappeared. You're not sure where it went. But
Oh
yeah.
fuck! It disappeared.
Yeah, so you're no longer
damn it.
floating on it. So now you are on the ground.
All right, so somewhere in all this chaos, 20 feet away, 30 feet away, I forget how long it is. I think it's 20. So when Kurtz poofs away, you hear this. Oh, what the fuck? And just like down the hallway, and I'm just like, why? What's going on here? I was having quite a lovely job. I'm just talking to myself because apparently I'm 20 feet down the hallway. Just no one else is really around me. But when Rin asked for Finley, I'll already be walking up, be like, I was having such a weird dream. What's going on?
Finley, we're having a bit of a dilemma here. Kurtz is gone. Urgra wants a monkey. Please tell me, do you have dispel magic on you?
All right, wait, hold on. Just quite a moment here. One step at a time here, wizard. Kurtz is gone. I was sleeping for like 20 fucking minutes. What do you mean Kurtz is gone?
The details later. Newt, transport teleportation. Don't worry about it. We'll find him later. Right now, we need to at least settle this here, and then we'll go and find him.
The monkey is what's important, Finley.
Oh my.
Kurtz is replaceable. JoJo is priceless.
I was going to say, I look around to see if Kurtz heard that. I'm like, wait a second, what? What do you mean Kurtz is... All right, fine. One step at a time here. What's going on with your monkey? I thought we were just monkey sitting this thing. What's the problem?
Urgra wants to take the monkey for herself, but at the moment I'm a little fearful that he might be under some magical influence that could still be linked to the master, and if we don't want that to follow us, we might need to find a way to remove it. Do you have a means to eradicate magical effects, dispel them?
Nope.
Damn it.
Sure don't.
Holy crap.
I'm shocked.
I am shocked too.
This is a really big problem. All right, I'm going to
No!
for the
All
moment.
my spells are... And then I'm over there.
All right. Okay, so Urgra, one moment, please. Grandmaster, I must inquire something. Is JoJo your familiar to some degree?
He is not my familiar in the sense that you, as a wizard, would think of him. He's more so of a pet.
But you were able to magically conjure and transposition him around.
I can use magic on him, but he is not magically summoned.
I see.
He is
right.
an actual creature.
All right. So if not necessarily, you were just randomly transporting. You weren't actually linked in a way to pocket dimension him, for instance.
That is correct. Why do you ask?
Well, it just when someone says familiar, you assume certain...
I sometimes refer to him as my familiar just because it's easier for people to relate to that, but he is not actually my familiar.
Right. Absolutely. I completely understand. Perhaps you can do me one favor more than perhaps. If we can give you this, and Urgra will owe you one favor, how about in turn, you could help provide us with something that I think would be an essential key to our party, since we don't seem to have it on ourselves, and you being a master of abjuration, this is something I'm certain you have, not only the skill in knowing, but also a great skill in being able to create, or at least have a few, scrolls of dispel magic, at least one on your person, or somewhere within your school.
I don't have any on me, but I can make one available. It would be a one-time use.
That's perfectly fine. I just need the scroll.
Sure. Yeah, I can instruct a wizard to pull it from our archives.
Great, thank you. Excellent, splendid. If you wouldn't mind, that'll be our trade then. Urgra, if you will, have your Jojo, and you will have the chain and one favor.
Yeah.
Right. So are we getting the fucking monkey out of this? Because that sounds amazing. I mean, we could certainly use kind of like a mascot, I
And
guess.
he'll be like,
or
well, this is of course if Jojo wants to go to you, and he'll look at Jojo, and so you did meet the persuasion DC, so Jojo is willing to come to you. You just need to call him
holds
over.
out her arm and kneels down.
Okay, so he kind of reluctantly looks at Siphon and kind of looks at you and kind of hops over there and kind of is looking in your pockets to see if you have any good berries.
Yeah, Casperberry.
Okay, all right. So he starts munching on those,
God.
and it's
What?
oh yeah. So as soon as you hand the good bear, he starts munching on it, and he's totally happy with being on your shoulder. And from all appearances, it looks like he's willing to go with you if he even understood what you were saying. So Master Siphon looks happy with it, and he looks at you and says, if Jojo ends up being too much, or and you need someone to watch him or something like that, he's always welcome to come back here. We have his home here. I don't mind looking over him from time to time, or if you change your mind, I'll always take him back. I'll always love my precious Jojo. But yeah, so take good care of him. If you ever have any questions or if he gets too crazy, just let me know.
And out of curiosity, does he have any, aside from being a very lovable monkey, does he have any other special abilities, magical or otherwise?
So lemurs, they're very rare, but some of them have showed an incline for heightened intelligence. So Jojo's still very young. He hasn't really developed in yet, but he might end up developing some abilities or something like that along the way. That's kind of why I was keeping him.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Not the question I thought you were going to ask. I was like, so does he have any like peanut allergies? Or, is there like a schedule, or like does he poop 3 times a day, or like a rant? Like anyway, no, just can he do anything cool? That's where we're at.
That's good to know.
Can he juggle?
That's not the question.
Does he have laser eyes?
I shall inquire about you sometime in the next couple hours or the next day for the scroll.
Where are you guys staying? I can have somebody just bring it to you guys if that makes it easier for you.
I'm in a semi-demi-planed manor of my choosing that changes location daily. I don't think that would be...
If you could drop it off at Miss Honey's, she will see that it gets to us.
Oh, I don't trust that woman. No.
Give it to one of my.
That's like our PO box, man. That's fine. That's funny.
Give it to one of my orphans.
Yeah, we have plenty of places here.
Random orphan looks like this.
You would assume he would know of,
My orphans.
He knows Miss Honey because he's been there. We met him there. So
yeah, whatever route you guys want to do is fine.
All right, you're fine. Miss Honey is fine. If you
Okay.
can send it to Miss Honey's, and I'll check within. When should I expect it?
Couple hours maybe.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be very prompt then. Thank you.
I'll probably hand deliver it myself because I would love to see how my dear friend is doing.
Oh,
It'll give me an excuse to stop by.
Splendid. Now, I'm afraid not to interrupt and be rude, but we should probably find our friend, who's still a newt. I look at the.
Yeah, right. Let's get to that. Where the fuck is Kurtz? You said
Right.
he's a newt. I take a nap, and our friends are being turned into lizards and shit, and now he's gone. Like, let's go.
All right.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
All right, and we will pan over to
Kurtz the newt.
Kurt's the newt. All right, so you were being held up, pinched fingers over the tail, and before you knew it, you were magically transported. and you find yourself sitting on top of something. From what it appears, it's white, and maybe branches or some kind of sticks are all around you.
Something white and made of wood.
You don't. It maybe not wood. You're not quite sure, but give me a perception check.
Yeah, I already know where the hell I am.
What's your bonus as a newt?
I don't
25. All right. So all of these, as you're looking around trying to figure out where the hell you are, you're looking around and these sticks that are kind of going up, they kind of branch off and then branch off, and it's this huge array of all these branches, and you start to look down, and it looks like you're actually on top of the head of a creature, and you're thinking it might be the stag.
Well, this is unexpected.
Which just comes out as
Just lick an eyeball.
And
I never did that before. New experience.
So the stag starts to take notice of you, but he's not worried or anything. He's kind of trying to look up, but he can't quite see you. But he doesn't seem to have any hostile intent. So as you're looking over the body of King, you notice that he is now wearing some kind of ornate robes. He's got like these white and gold outfit on him. You're not sure where it came from. It's got these tassels. There's kind of like this saddle that's on his back. And
Goddamn deer's dressed nicer than I am.
I mean, who's dressing up the deer?
And he's kind of prancing around, and eventually he makes his way over to his mate, and they start, nuzzling on each other. And at that point, you start to fall off his head. Do you want to stay on, or you want to fall off?
No,
you can hear the music. It's going.
Yeah, it's just Careless Whisper in the background.
Okay.
Quick, Kurt, get out of there. Get
time
ready.
for me to bail.
Okay, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Come on, Cart's glass skin.
Okay, you actually beat it. So your body starts to change back into the regular form, and before you know it, you're kneeling in the pasture, in their circular area that you made, and there are some servants who are off in the little old barn area who are tending. They haven't noticed you. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna turn to the deer and sort of bow and be like, my lord, lady, sorry to interrupt you. I will be taking my leave now.
And he'll kind of do a double take, like it was a newt, now it's a person, and he's kind of like, he does one of those like confused thing, but then he'll come up and he'll start to rub his face on you, because he remembers who you are. And then he'll kind of prance over to the queen, and they'll kind of like take a pose, so you can kind of see them in their new like outfits. He's feeling very proud of it, and you can see
fucking love it.
that there is a kind of a small line of children over by the servants, and the servants will kind of give a whistle noise, and the king and queen will kind of run over there, and he will put one of the children onto the saddle that's on King, and then one on Queen, and they'll start kind of running around the exterior of the pen.
Finley is not going to be pleased that the small children are riding his stag.
My mount. My glorious mount.
What would you like to do?
For the kids. It's for the kids. It's all good.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just like, do I know where the manor is, right? We hadn't dispelled it for the day.
Yeah, I think it's still up.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there because I know that either Near is gonna be there or the little goblin thing is gonna be there, so I can tell them that I'm not dead.
Okay. Okay.
Goblin thing.
Good.
And
Good.
as-
Goblin thing.
As you make your way back into the city, you can see that the deer are having a great time. The children are having a great time. And you could just see this amount of joy and purpose that these deer have now, like, catering to these kids and running them around in the pen. All right, so you're making your way back to the mansion. We'll pan back over to the party. What would you guys like to do?
All right, Ergo, are you good at tracking? Do you know where the hell we could find a newt?
I mean, I know where a newt could be found, but I don't think that's really relevant when someone teleports one anywhere they want.
Yeah.
Checking.
Brilliant, great. Do I have? Thinking. Do I have anything that I can do to?
There's a locate creature spell in the.
No.
Right. Can't you do that thing where like you hold your ear and we can like hear each other talk to each other, and then I hold this ear and I can talk to the other one.
He
and
needs
I
to
hold
be
both ears and I talk to someone, but I can't hear myself think. Like
No, he has to be within a range of 30 feet of me, so I can't extend it beyond me even knowing where they are.
oh shit! All right. Can
I-
you send him any kind of message or anything? Being a newt, or would he not understand it, or what?
So at this point,
well-
Siphon has left. You guys are still there. He
Oh,
kinda
yeah,
goes
we'll
off
leave.
on his own.
We're-
Whoa,
Yeah.
walking and talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
walking and talking.
Okay, where
Guys,
are you guys headed to?
Shit.
Well, okay, God damn it.
Well, should we split up, stay together? What do you? I mean, I only saw him for like 2 seconds. I'm not even sure I could recognize him in that form.
All
You know
right.
what?
All right. What
You know
about this? Let's put our minds together here. And if I were a newt, and not just any newt, but if I was a Kurt Gladskin newt, where would I go? What would I do? What
You
should?
are a grumpy sociopathic. What would you
Right.
do?
Right. Yeah.
well, okay. Well, okay. He did say that it would wear off soon, so my assumption would be that it at least would not last too long. So the questions I think we should be asking are: has anyone seen a pissed off Kurtz anywhere? 'Cause I'm sure he might actually be moving straight back here to get revenge on the Grand Master. So we should probably intercept him.
Not
at
wrong. That's actually really good thinking there, Rin. Shit. Right. Right.
I think you would be the best to intercept him and stop him from possibly murdering an ally. So maybe you should stay here, and Finley and I will
well-
start asking around.
Well, actually, how close are we to the docks? We're not that far from it. We're
Yeah,
pretty
that's
close.
right. You're right by it. Yeah, the academy is right by
Right.
the docks.
Do you all remember some of his little, the little pickpockets? His little, I don't want to say children because they're not quite children, but
Oh, right. The Kurtz's little crew of misfits and lost toys. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Why don't we just ask?
Well, I'm sure yes. If you perhaps ask them to spread the word of wherever they are around, has anyone seen him, and if they spot him, to at least, well, we could direct him. Like if they find him, we could tell him to meet us somewhere. Should we meet at Ivan's Keep? We're supposed to be there in about 2-3 hours or so from now. I mean, whenever the meeting is in the evening.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
yeah, the War Council meeting's in the evening, right? And it's like, what time
It's
now?
pretty
3,
close.
4, 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in a couple hours.
Right. So
Right.
all right, let's sit here for the moment. If he doesn't come around, we can all head up to the keep anyways, because he should be going there. And we'll send the little orphans out and tell them that if they see him, we'll be here before we head up to the keep. What do you think?
Right, and you can always send your double banger to Miss Honeys to get the scroll.
Yes, I'll send near to Miss Honey's in a couple hours.
You know, Rin, I gotta be quite honest. I'm really kind of jealous. I kind of feel like I need one of those. Like, right? Like, you know how sometimes just walking around, it's like I really just need an assistant to just like do this and do that for me, so I don't have to fucking do it. And you have one of those, so I gotta be honest. I'm really kind of jealous to how you made him. I gotta get me one of my own.
Well, then, do you have the skills to make that?
I don't know. We'll have to have a conversation. Kurt's first. I just put a pin in
So
that conversation.
where
I
is
really
Nier?
wanna
Is he
find out how to
at
make my
the?
own.
Is he at the mansion right now?
Nope, Nier has been in the keep this entire time.
Oh, okay. Where's your
It's just-
homunculus?
With Nier at the keep.
Okay. Okay.
Wonderful. All right. So we're gonna sit here for a bit, see if we find Kurt's coming back to kill everyone. If we don't find him there, we're using orphans to. How does Kurt's? Does he pay them with like food or something, or does he give them like? How do we?
I assumed he raised them when they were hatchlings in a sense, and just got them from the favor of feeding them. And look,
He found
Dad,
a nest
Dad,
of eggs and
Dad.
raised them.
I'm like a crocodile.
So like, do we just pay them with like some of this, and I'll pull out like a honey stick? Like, should we just give them like a honey stick here,
Yeah,
or
sure,
like,
honey stick should be fine. I don't think they really care much for what you would call anything
I pull
else.
out a bar of soap? I mean, I got soap here. I mean, I don't.
I think that's the exact opposite that most children, well, the human children at least, they don't really like to be clean.
All right.
So,
I think generally they probably prefer coin.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Kurt, so you eventually make your way to the mansion, and there is a note from the smith that you were working with that your order is ready to be picked up.
Oh, fantastic. I will head there then, in that case.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So when you get there, he'll be very excited to see you. He'll come run up. Oh, I gotta show you what we got here, and he'll fold out the leather cloth that he had it wrapped in before, and he will present the blade to you, and it has the moonstone set up into the hilt, or to the end of the was it pommel? The pommel. Yeah. And so he said that I haven't heard word if it's been blessed yet, but everything that you requested, it should be good to go. What do you think?
Sort of. Yes, Master Smith, it is very fine work and worth the coin. Thank you for your time and effort spent on this. I'm sure it will make a fine weapon should it ever need to be used.
Okay. Yeah, this is maybe the finest blade I've ever made, so you should definitely be proud to be wielding something of this quality.
I'll just sort of stow it.
Okay.
He's already been paid, correct?
Yes, he has.
All right. In that case, I will just sort of, business at hand. Master Smith, I bid you good day, and perhaps in the future I will have more work for you.
And I'm super impressed with this. It does have my marking on there, so if any other smiths want to see it, make sure you show off my mark. But I will give you a 20% discount on any future custom blades you would like made.
Well, of course. I appreciate your generosity, sir.
As long as you promise to show off the mark.
I will do my best.
Okay. All right, thank you for your business. And he will go back to smashing some blades on an anvil.
Finding me an orphan.
Okay. Who are you looking for?
Most of them have jobs now.
Yep.
Rodriguez.
Okay. All right, so I think Rodriguez was one of the ones that was with Aaron at the Temple of Guard, I believe.
Yeah, Aaron's the only one who went to the Temple Guard.
Oh, okay, so he was
probably working at the docks.
Okay, so
we do know the mute one with the hand signs.
Yeah,
She's
Lizzie
at the docks.
is at the docks. So if you were wanting to talk to Rodriguez, you probably would need to head towards the docks, which is right by the academy.
Whichever one I find first, either that one. I think the other one was what, Mary, maybe. I don't remember the other orphan's name.
Okay.
They're your kids, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, man.
There is a lot of them.
There's like 20 or 30 of them.
What were
left now.
What were you wanting to do with one of these orphans?
that was dark. I don't know if anyone heard Connor.
I didn't hear it.
He said one less now.
Oh.
I heard it.
Too soon.
We don't talk about
It was
that.
literally like yesterday in game. It was like yesterday.
I mean, damn it! I was going to say, did anyone remember his name? It's just the name. Of
What were you wanting to do with this?
I want to send them to find everyone else.
All the other minions?
No.
Oh, your party.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can send one of them, and they will start to find them. But you won't hear back for a while.
No, I imagine all his orphans are those little yellow creatures with the. It's like, I'll find the minion. Banana.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Yeah. You send one of your little minions off, and starts to see if they can find the rest of your party. What does anybody want to do?
I mean, we looked for minions to also look for Kurt, so I'm sure there's bound to be some eventual.
Okay, yep, so if you guys go and talk to the minions at the dock, I'm sure by the time that minion gets there, you guys get word that he's looking for you and you're looking for him. Kurtz, where were you telling them to relay the information where you're going to be?
I suppose... Oh, we have a few hours, I think, until the War Council. It's back at the manor.
Okay. So one of his minions comes and reports back to you guys that Kurtz has sent word that he's at the mansion.
Oh, there we go. Let's head out.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. These little buggers are kind of useful. And is there one still there? Can I like pat him on the head? I go pat him on the head, right?
Yeah.
You just like
Oh,
holding
it's
his
a
hand
bug.
out.
These little buggers are quite useful.
Forget your height difference.
Oh, halfling.
All right, so eventually you guys all meet up at the mansion. So yeah, we'll just fast track that. So Kurtz is in there, and you three all walk into the mansion. What would you like to do?
I'm eating more of Finley's like tragedy waffles that he made.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But we don't have.
They
too
are
much-
good.
We do have to rendezvous at the keep. How many hours do we have to be there, DM?
In a couple hours. If you guys have nothing else that you want to do in the meantime, we can fast track to the work council meeting if you like.
All right. If it is a couple hours, I will then on the way stop by Miss Honey to see if the squirrel is there myself.
And our money.
It's kind of on the way. All right, sure, money too.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Connor, what were you gonna say? Look like you're
Is
gonna.
that what is that? Is that a new sword?
Oh no, the other thing's a dagger, and it's far too small to be seen. It's
Oh,
hidden.
then never mind.
Yeah.
I just heard blade.
Not for you, Ergra.
What was that?
It's just
I
as
smell
peaceful
moonstone.
from a new dagger.
Moonstone tingles my senses.
Schnozberries taste like schnozberries. All right. All right. So you guys make your way over to Miss Honey, and as you walk in, you actually see Violet is there. She's hanging out with Miss Honey, and you can see them kind of. They're over this brew thing, and they're throwing stuff in, and they're kind of giggling, having some girl time. But they hear, the door open, and Violet turns, and she sees you. She's like, "Oh, Finley!" And she comes running up to you, and she gives you a big hug.
The usual where she picks me up kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Your feet kind of dangling off the ground.
Hello, darling.
And you guys can catch a really sweet and savory smell just kind of wafting and filling the whole hive building. It smells fantastic.
I'm glad to see the corpse of the giant bee was taken away, because I'm assuming that was taken away.
Yeah, it was taken away. You don't.
Oh,
see
good,
it.
because the rotting smell outside would probably not be good.
And you kind of hear Miss Honey in the back. Ooh, this is lovely. And Violet comes up to you. She's like, "How have you been, Finley? I miss you."
Oh, I miss you too, sweetheart. Just doing the usual, kicking ass, taking names and things. But I didn't expect to see you here. I didn't even know that you knew our business partner here, Miss Honey. But it's wonderful to see you. And I'll kiss her on the hand when she eventually puts me down.
Okay. So when
Did you guys bang for like 12 years or something?
while you guys were in that tunnel
It's like a couple
of
months.
no
A
time.
couple months.
Yeah. You had talked about Miss Honey and the endeavors you guys were business partners. And so she kind of took it upon herself to seek her out, and friendship started kind of blossoming. She says,
No shit.
So we actually came up with a brilliant idea, and I wanted to see what you thought about it.
Sure. What is that? What the spell is? Your brilliant idea here?
Yeah, and she'll start to get super excited. So remember the ale powder that I had made?
Right.
So she'll bring you over to kind of this big pot that's kind of boiling over this stove, and it's still really hot. But Miss Honey will kind of bring a ladle out, and she'll pour it into a cup, and she'll kind of serve them out for all of you if you wanted to try it. She said, "So we had this idea of combining the honey mead that she had with the powdered ale that I sell."
No.
And
Is she making like cocaine mead right now?
Tell me what you guys think. And Miss Honey should be like, "Oh, hello everyone. Yes, I am so excited for you to try this. I think it tastes amazing." And she'll kind of put these honeycomb cups out for you guys.
Okay, Rin's a little suspicious, and thank God he is a gourmand, because he is going to inspect the shit out of this thing to know what the fuck this powder crap is.
Okay. Yeah, give me a roll of whatever kind of check you want to do.
All right. So let's see. So just I can inspect a food or thing within 5 feet, determine whether it's poisoned or if I can see or smell it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. I'm gonna be.
I'm
drinking
familiar
while
with
he's
just the
listening.
smell and odor. So if is it poisoned or is there
It's
any
not
drug
poisoned.
effect? Okay, so there's no drug effect.
So the drug effect would be just a very potent alcohol content.
Okay, sure.
It's Jack Daniel's honey.
Okay, all right. So if it's just alcohol, then Rin will be like, oh, okay, never mind.
Okay.
I thought there was some like sleazy underhanded words, and powdered ale was another like code for like angel dust, Or...
Yeah, you guys don't know what the powder is.
It's our business partner and my girlfriend, and you're like, I don't fucking trust these people.
He talks about this like powdered shit that we're not supposed to know of, and it's a secret shipment, and it's just like we don't want to
Ren
talk.
doesn't even trust a monkey, man.
Dispel magic on the cup before I drink it.
Well, now that I think about it, now all I can think about is like in Indiana Jones where the monkey eats the date. So don't let JoJo try any of that.
Oh no, you've seen with sugar, try sugar
Oh
and
my gosh,
alcohol.
JoJo is our taste tester. That's brilliant.
Bad beer.
So who is willing to take a drink of this concoction?
I already drank it. Well,
Okay.
Ren's like inspecting it and doing the wine tasting where you gargle it and spit it out, doing all that shit.
Okay.
I already drank it.
Okay. So
Urgra like dips in a pinky and just like
okay.
barely a drop.
What about you, Kurtz?
Drinking it and playing with all the orphans that I gave to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Kurtz and I probably would have just like picked it up and knocked glasses and already been swinging it. One.
So
Well,
as it's a little
What's it gonna
bit,
do? Kill me?
because it's a honey mood, but they also combine some actual honey in there too. So it's not thick like honey. Dilly. Thanks, Jackie. We just got a follower. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to the channel. So it's a little thicker than just your standard ale, but it's still very liquidy still. And
That's what she said.
Oh boy.
It's not thick to be too thick. It's not runny to be too runny. It's
Right.
that just perfect consistency.
And as the drink hits your guys' mouths, it is probably the most delicious drink you've actually ever tasted.
What color is it?
Perfect. It's kind of like a honey color.
Okay.
But it's like a perfect blend of sweet and savory, and you can't even taste the alcohol content in it. But as
that's
she's
bad.
talking about it,
That's
it's
bad
actually
news.
it's very, very potent.
We need to send this over to the Mages College.
They didn't give it to the kids, did they?
The Ragers.
The little orphans are
And the
just
honey
like,
sticks.
Yeah.
oh, no!
Listen, my orphans
The
could probably
entire
outdrink
town
this
is
entire
in
party.
gas.
Oh my god.
So Violet and Miss Honey are both very, very excited about it, and they're very curious about what you guys think of it.
Well, it's lovely. Thank you for creating such a new concoction. Please tell me you are advising people that it is intoxicating. Yes, you're not just letting them walk around not realizing this is going to get them pissed off their asses.
That sounds like a personal problem on their part, Ren.
And Miss Honey, she's conversing with you back, but she walks over to Finley and she extends the hand. She's like, "Darling, the customary fashion."
Right. Fuck. I under my breath, just fuck. Right. do the double kiss, and as I do it, I say, "Ladies, quite honestly, I mean, we're as I look at, we're gonna make a mint off of this. This is delightful.
And
Have you thought of a name for it yet?
actually, I haven't, darling. We were wanting to see. I wanted to talk with my business partners, of course, and see the mead franchise that we were looking to get into. I think this would be a much better endeavor to get into. Miss Violet here has donated, some of her secret ingredient, and I think this would be a great thing to do. And then Violet will kind of chirp up. She's like, "I heard that there is a feast that's going to be coming up, so we are going to be making a barrel to kind of introduce to everybody our new product, and then we'll sell it through Miss Honey. What do you guys think?"
What about that tabaxi we met who did a lot of trading and stuff as well? He seems to be interested in a new line of revenue. He may be able to acquire some funds for us and supplies. If
Sebastian, you say, Kurtz.
Sebastian, yeah.
Yes. If Sebastian can supply us, if this does in fact take off, then perhaps honey stick treats may make way for honeyed mead.
Right. I like how you're already finding, you got to promote her, right? With Sebastian there, out there peddling the shit off, you got the banners up there and everything. You have like a trade show. We don't have time for that, all of that, but that would be wonderful because, death is at our door. But we could perhaps maybe one barrel sounds like, to be quite honest, ladies, you're not thinking big picture here because how long does it take to make just one barrel?
Well, this is the first one we've made, and we did a lot of trial and error. But I think
Sure.
if we get some of the helpers that Kurt's brought in, we could definitely start mass producing this right away.
Time out. Hold on. Just quick thought. If they were practicing and trying stuff out,
How drunk are they?
I was gonna say, how drunk are they? And did they get like orphans drunk in this? Well, here, little Johnny, try this shit out. Oh, okay.
So none of
drunk orphans running around. What is happening in this building right now?
Right. None of the orphans seem to be inebriated. They may have tried it, but they're more of a workforce.
They're hardcore little shits too. All right.
Miss Honey seems to be maintaining their composure, and Violet is Violet, the iron liver.
Right.
Well,
I'm not too worried about Violet. I was just curious to see how everyone else was.
I'm sure this honey is great for teething, sore stomachs.
Yeah, she seems completely sober.
I would recommend that you perhaps also sell this as perhaps a medicinal beverage for those who are feeling aches and pains. It'd probably be something easy for them to digest and enjoy a sweet sensation while also dulling out any, ill.
Ooh, all right. First of all, I don't really pick it up on the medical side of things, but you still said something pretty smart in there, Rin. What about
I always say something smart.
What if we called it Sweet Sensation? That's a nice name there for this, because that's what it gives me right down in my regions. Give me that Sweet Sensation. I like that name.
I'm pretty sure I know of a brothel named Sweet Sensations.
Yes, I'm certain we can have a lot of S's that can be advertising this, but yes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Sensations, yes.
How much would it be? How much would it be, or how much would it cost? I'm trying to make a business venture here. I don't think one barrel's enough, Miss Honey. I don't think we're thinking large scale enough. If we're going to be at a festival, lots of people drinking this. We got a lot of people, lots of free drinks. You got to spend money to make money. How much would this be to maybe make like 3 barrels? Fuck 3 barrels. How much would that cost?
So we do have a couple barrels of the honey that we've been getting from the Furbies. And Violet sharps up. She's like, I have several crates of the powder. Her ship is at the dock, so she has a lot of it here. They think that they have enough resources to make a lot.
Might I inquire, where exactly, what is this powder? Do you know it specifically, or is this a secret recipe, a mixture of multiple things, or is this from a specific plant?
Violet will kind of lean over to Finley. She's like, now Finley?
Yeah, Kurt, so, Rin, I'm going to stop you right there, Rin. Listen, friend. This is my lady's family business here. I know you're the inquisitive type. You gotta know a little bit about everything. I got this, honey. It's fine. Listen, Violet. Honey, Violet, I know. I appreciate the questions, but it's one of those things where the less you know, the better it is. This is something that is a cherished family recipe of theirs. They're not just gonna. I'll save you the time. She's not going to tell you regardless there, but there you have it.
Well, that's fine. It's a recipe. Well, that's all right. What's the supply for it? Do you have enough means to be able to procure it? That's my question. If you only have so many boxes on a ship, my guess is you had to ship it from another location to get here. So you're talking about trade lines. You need to get your supply and demand in order. You need to gauge your pricing depending on how expensive it is. I'm just curious about this. We are in a business together.
I'll hold up my hand. Well, give my people on the docks a few days and a few months, and soon we'll control the docks. Much cutting down less on taxes and tithes for anything Miss Violet needs to bring in.
Well, that's fine. That's great. That cut costs. Brilliant. But I'm just curious as to how rare is this? Can you make this commodity readily available, or is this an exclusive thing that is going to be expensive because, there's only so much that can go around?
Well, you guys don't know much about what I do, but I'm quite the bit of an entrepreneur, Violet says.
And a drunk. And a love.
Let's slap him in the back of the head.
Just honesty right there.
What a hot one.
This this powder I have an immense amount of, and I have an established trade route of many of my ships that bring it all around the continent. It's available at many other places. So if we need more product, I just need to let people know we can bring it brought here. Yeah.
Brilliant. That you can sell this low, make it a mass-produced effect, and get a great sum of quantity to outsell the quality of price. That means yes, great. So make it readily available. Probably put it for cheap. Get more income that way. Good to know.
All right. Well, so basically what she's saying, and she's got it well taken care of. Have a little faith in my lady, and I hope maybe this will help us get not 1, not 2, but 3 barrels, and maybe this will help with production and whatever we got to do to make this happen. I'll slap 25 gold on Miss Honey's counter there, and be like, right, spend money to make money.
And Violet will take the 25 gold and she'll put it back in your possession. She's like, don't worry, darling, Mama's got this.
You see, and I'll nudge Kurtz, be like, you see that? You see how we get shit done? You're so hot when you're all economical and sugar mama. Oh gosh.
Is Finley just like Elfo? He's just like, I'm into big girls.
This is working out quite right.
I'll sort of.
So you guys want to call it Sweet Sensation?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That's
All
amazing.
right.
That's an amazing name.
Miss Honey needs to know what you guys want to call it.
Instead of Sweet Sensations, that sounds like a brothel.
That's perfect.
Well, if you just called it Sensations, it's a perfume. If you just call it Sweet, it seems simplistic.
About stinging sensations. No, that sounds like an STD.
Finley had that like 2 weeks ago. Right. Yeah, not that one.
Brosia.
Oh no.
Thing to do with honey.
Wait, what languages? I speak Celestial. How about we call it honey in that?
What is honey in that?
I don't fucking know.
Make something up, Kurtz.
As you guys are sitting there, like having your little thought bubbles, I already have like parchment out, like some ink, and I'm like drawing like a symbol for it, like sweet. This can go in the bottle, right? Sweet sensations. Look at that. Look at how the S's coalesce together like that. They're oh, that's beautiful.
S.
S is your favorite letter, I'm assuming, Finley.
Right. Well, they just carved together so nice. Actually, I'm going to start drawing it now while you guys are thinking of a better name. Right.
I think the name is. We can wait for that, can we not? We need to build up the retinue. Right now, we can just say it's Mrs. Honey's honeyed mead. For all shits and giggles.
Yeah, she's okay with if you guys need some time to think about the name, but she does recommend. But by the time the feast comes, where they start
could call it
distributing
liquid gold for all we want, but either way.
Ooh, all right. That's not so bad either. All right, put a pin in that one. That one's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
Okay.
Liquid gold.
Well, now you went back into condoms. What the hell?
Liquid gold.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
All
you
right.
guys
All
said-
right.
Exactly what you did.
Jackie said Velveeta.
We do have to get to a council meeting, but please, did our Grandmaster Siphon come around and drop by a scroll for me to have?
No, darling, he hasn't been around yet, but
Oh yeah, that dick.
Oh damn it! That's right. We have Kurtz with us.
Wait, where'd we get the monkey from?
Urgra at this point is like, I don't know. It's a strange no one commented on my new friend. Looking very pointedly at Violet and Miss Honey.
And Jojo will be kind of like reaching out for one of the cups.
Oh, don't feed the monkey.
That just means that I succeeded in my battle against the wizard. My goal was to acquire the monkey, and we have the monkey in our possession. Good.
The monkey has been acquired. And the rest is rejoicing.
Vengeance is mine.
Okay. Rin's going to step outside to see if he can spot the Grandmaster and hopefully try to make sure that he's not going to be seeing Kurtz anywhere. If he can. Intercept.
Okay. Yeah, so he comes marching down the road eventually, and you can see he has a rolled up parchment in his hand.
Oh, brilliant. Hello, Grandmaster. Sorry, can I just take that from you real quick? I know you want to see Miss Honey. She's got a splendid concoction going on, but I need you to just wait here for a moment. May I have that for a second, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you
Okay,
so
and
much.
he'll look very puzzled, and he'll hand over
It'll be more than just maybe. Just wait here for 1 minute, please. And I just go inside and I go, everyone, we're running late. I just got word from Nia. We're already missing the council meeting. They're starting now. We gotta go.
All right. Well, and I'll grab one of my to-go mugs and like fill up one more as we're going.
Okay.
After I've had 2 more, so this is like number 3.
And I'll say, no, it's like, no, time to walk. We got to go now.
Oh, wait.
All right,
wait.
Trin.
I grab
hold
all
your
4
horses.
of them.
And he's teleporting us.
I'm going to teleport them right into the
Okay, so Kyle, you said you've already had 2 cups of it?
Yep.
Alright, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Sure, and I will mage hand Violet on the tush before we head out.
Classy.
Yeah. Yep. What am I doing? Constitution saving throws?
Yeah, you're gonna have to actually give me 2. So this is the first one. Since you picked up the cup.
Oh, goddamn it.
Ooh.
11 and a 9.
Alright.
Yeah, buddy.
Alright, so this Velveeta / Sweet Sensation / Liquid Gold, whatever you're gonna call it.
I'm not calling it fucking Velveeta.
You're actually somewhat sloshed. It has caught up to you very, very quickly. So you guys are going to teleport to Ivan's Manor, and as everything phases for you, you're kind of like, what the fuck? It just kind of hits you very, very quickly. This is very, very potent stuff.
Right. Then
Now,
drink
come
more.
on, you ass.
That's the tequila version.
Okay.
We're
That's-
here.
All right. So you are in Ivan's Manor, and we will take our first break.
Nice.
Oh.
Look at that. Look at
Awesome.
that. Woo!
Thank you,
On the
everyone, for staying with us. We're gonna go on our first break, and we'll find out what's gonna happen. And they're gonna make their way to the War Council meeting, and they've been waiting a long time for this, so it should be pretty good. So we will see you in a few minutes.
Thanks, everyone.
It comes up, I just do one of these deals where it's just like
dump it all over your body. You'll see the vendor just cracking up.
she's not just a client to me, Your Honor, but she's a near and dear, true friend. And
I don't have really any spells left, so I'm just gonna start going. I'm gonna use Prestidigitation to just keep blowing.
You got like little joints that they just suck into or something, and they slide in with friction. Or if there's maybe like I can make you some cream finley. You can dip your tongue in it. You'll be fine.
second bear.
It's fine. He's like, I don't care about the shit. No disadvantage to this magic bullcrap. Missiles again.
Do you have to breathe?
You can try using one.
That's not
That's not a good idea.
I'm actually gonna.
I'm gonna reach out and pull out the divinity symbol from my shirt and just sort of like, this is an unholy place.
This is the epitome of handling an animal. You're free falling. That's what.
Your heart can heal if you just let it.
So okay, how are we gonna work this here?
A fair price for a fair bargain of such rare and majestic items. Wouldn't you?
What's your total damage?
25 total.
Woo!
That's a big hit, dude.
That is an eyeball piercer.
Shit.
And then grab onto the wings and try to glide it into the ground.
Yes.
Okay. She'll slam her staff into the ground and she'll say, Caldevar, then I order you to arrest Cain in the name of the High Temple, and we will end all of session 0. So good job, guys.
Oh.
Well played.
Hello there, everyone's favourite halfling bard, Finley Shenanigan here. Being the soulful adventurer that I am, and known for telling a tale or two, pull up a stool to grab a pint as I tell you a story about my favourite hero, me. In my years of travelling, I met people of all walks and cultures. Although the horsemen coming didn't affect me directly, I saw the toll they left behind. The destruction and devastation these villainous beings left in their wake sparked something within me. How was I, Finley Shenanigan, to become the greatest, most legendary bard that Candoria had ever seen if no one was around to behold my glory? More importantly, where is Alundra? When will she be back? And what will she be wearing? Hopefully something revealing. Anywho, setting on my journey, I shared my glamour with those who had never witnessed such pure, unadulterated excellence before. My legacy was to replace their despair and unite the people for the war yet to come. In the end of the day, everyone can be a hero. Everyone has a little adventure inside of them. And if you don't, would you like one?
Ah, salutations. I am Rin Anoran, historian of Candoria, renowned problem solver, an elf of esteemed conscience. When I became of age, I set out as a Rena and departed from my home of Othalos to the city of Egoras to study the arcane arts. With some difficulties, I was able to teach myself while working as a scribe in the library of Alashar. There, I produced a masterpiece of Candoria's history and its secrets, my manifesto, the true record of our world. However, even my aspirations dwindled when Alundra's guidance vanished, followed by the devastation from the Horsemen's wake. Despite all the wounds we have suffered, I shall never let our existence be forgotten, for I believe our best hope lies with our knowledge and story made eternal.
My name is Kurt Glaskin, and I have lost everything that I've loved in this world. My daughters, my wife, my friends, all of them dead to the Horsemen. And now I have a chance to redeem myself, to protect my friends, to lead humanity into a new age of light and hope. Alundra abandoned us, the goddesses abandoned us, and left us with these monsters. And I want to take everything from them that they've taken from us. I live in a world of blood and hatred and violence, and so I will become that violence. I will be that hatred, and I will be exactly what we need, a sword against the darkness.
My name is Urgra Dropper, and I am a dependable ambassador. I was the only half-breed in my mother's tribe of orcs where the threat of being eaten constantly hung over my head. And yet, those were some of the happiest times of my life compared to my time with the Revenant. I was 12 when I first picked up a bow and started hunting, and I quickly found that people make the most interesting prey and often deserve an arrow in the head far more than most monsters. Magic and even the Three Sisters were always something weird and sinister to me. That is, until by chance I crossed paths with the High Priestess Alundra, who showed me that magic, like everything else, can be used for good or for evil. And that's what I'll keep on repeating to myself every time one of those stuck-up magical morons say something that makes me want to cut out their tongues.
The following program features adults using adult language. You have been warned.
We'll survive. Nothing else, but that will survive.
All right,
Mike.
we are back. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. All right, so we left off. You guys just teleported to Ivan's manor. Finley is, I don't even know if he's aware of it, but he just got hammered.
What's happened?
So you guys are at the main entryway, and there's going to be some Ivan's servants down there, and they're actually expecting you. We'll just fast track to the War Council meeting. So they say that Ivan is expecting you, and he is upstairs. If you like to follow us, we will lead you up to the meeting.
Do we have to disarm?
No, you can go up there armed.
Ivan, I hope Nier hasn't been too much of a bother, him waiting here for us.
Ivan's not down here. He's upstairs.
Never mind, Ivan. You don't do it.
Okay, so,
Rin, who are you talking to, Rin?
Oh, be quiet, you. You're drunk. You don't know anything.
Just plop him back on the
Okay,
desk.
and you don't
Son of a gun. Who said that?
you don't see Nier anywhere, but you have a telepathic bond with Nier, though, right?
Well, I have it with my homunculus, who is on Nier's shoulder at all times, so that's my radio or walkie-talkie right there. So
Okay.
I will kind of like go, homunculus, what's going on, what's happening, and then he can convey whatever. Nier should have just been sitting nicely or looking at things and being out of the way.
Okay, so I think that Ivan eventually would have got kind of annoyed with Nier, so he would have started to task him out with just kind of helping the servants. And I don't think anything eventful enough would have happened where he would have used the homunculus to report back to you. But you will eventually see Nier. He's got this kind of cloth over his arm, and you see him. He's with the servants, and he'll actually see you with the other servants as you guys are getting ready to go up to the stairs. So you can have the interaction.
I'll immediately walk over to him and go, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell? Take that, fling the towel off. Get over here, just grab the air. This way, Nier. Don't offend me.
Okay.
You're with me. Stay with me.
Okay. So the servants will lead you up a series of stairs that kind of go out around the exterior of the manor, and it goes up and up and up and up, and this building is very tall. But eventually you come to the top of the stairs.
Awful fancy.
Yeah,
it is now nightfall. And as you get to this last part coming up here, the servants will kind of usher, say, go ahead and go the rest of the way, and they'll kind of go back downstairs. And you will see Ivan at the top of the stairs, and he will look at you guys very, very excited, and he'll say, "Welcome, friends."
Ivan!
The meeting is just about to begin.
You son of a gun! I'm just gonna go over and hug him.
Okay. Yeah, he'll give you a huge hug back, and he'll kind of snort in your ear when you're hugging him.
Hell yeah.
And I like slowly do one of those things where it's very awkward as we're hugging. I just slowly take my hand down towards his butt.
Why?
Yeah, he'll stop you. He'll come like, Philly, what the hell are you doing?
Right, sorry. It's just, end of the world stuff. I'm just polishing off a couple. It's fine. It's fine. I won't do that again. And I'll start to reach down again. I'm sorry. No, I'll pull back.
All right, and he'll say, "I have some important people to introduce you to." And
that's great timing. All right.
And he'll bring you into this area, and you will see a dwarf sitting here at that table. You see one at the head of this one here, and you'll see a tabaxi over on the ends over there. 1 second, real quick.
No high priestess, I see.
No, she is not here. So, who we have attending will be myself, Fire, Grimtoe, Ironside, and we are expecting Grandmaster Siphon as well.
Oh, that dick.
He should
Oh,
be
great.
here, promptly.
The Grimtoe himself, oh.
So you said Ironside?
Ironside, the two dwarven brothers who ruled the opposing nations, and Fire, the head of the Tabaxi.
I know Fire.
Fire burns.
I know him. He knows me.
And feel free
I'll
to
go
walk around this rooftop here real quick while I get something ready real fast.
Ironside and what was the other one's name?
Grimtoe.
Grimtoe, Ironside, and Fear.
Those are the big time boys, man. We're meeting with all kinds of shit. I didn't put on my clean underwear for this. All right.
I think in Finley's mind, they're meeting us. Who's the bigger?
Right. Oh, yeah. I like that. Good spit on that one, Rin. I like it. Yeah, they're meeting us. Those. Yeah, right.
Zoom in so I can actually tell who's who.
This one down here is Grimtoe, and the one at the head over here is Ironside.
Was Fire the one I wrestled?
No.
Oh no.
Which one did I wrestle?
A tiger, I think.
Yeah, it was a tiger.
The one-armed
That's right.
tiger, right?
Yeah.
His name was
Savage.
Tiger upper.
Savage, yeah, Savage.
All these they're like tiefling names, only more aggressive.
Because we did meet one before Fire though, didn't? Oh wait, no, was it Fire? No.
Fierce.
That was it. It was another
Fierce, Savage, and Fire.
Okay. All right. So Ivan will kind of usher you guys in, and he will introduce you to everybody, and he'll say, "Welcome, fellow leaders. As soon as Master Siphon gets here, we'll begin the meeting. But I'd like to introduce to you the four outstanding adventurers that are going to be helping us with this meeting tonight. He'll kind of have, usher for everyone to kind of take a seat at the table. Ivan will sit here. Is it there?
There are not enough chairs.
And you guys can... Yeah, there's not enough chairs on the map, but you guys can just, take a chair next to wherever you guys want to sit.
Cool.
And then Siphon will actually come up the stairs, and he'll say, Welcome! Welcome, guys. I'm glad you're here. Sorry I'm late. And he'll come take a seat right next to Ivan. And Ivan will say, I think introductions are in order. And he will go around the table introducing everybody. So you guys already know Grandmaster Siphon, and he will kind of nod as he's introduced. And say he's a Grandmaster of the Abjuration School for the Wizards. Kurtz Glaskin, he'll kind of just go around the table. And if there's anything you want to say about yourselves, you can go ahead and do that when he introduces you.
Right. All right.
Out of character, Sean, did we ever determine what army Kurtz led? Or should I just make this up?
Yeah, it would be a made-up thing.
All right. I'll just, I'll just sort of...
It was all in your head.
Oh, yeah, it is all. It's still in my head. I'll just sort of nod, look around the table. Kurtz Glaskin, former leader of the 13th Legion.
Okay.
Ooh! It sounds fancy. And badass at the same time.
Okay.
It's both.
And then he will introduce Grimtoe. He is one of the leaders of the Bane clan, and he'll just kind of quietly nod, and his body language is very shut in, very serious demeanor, kind of huge beard, very, very stout guy. And then we have Finley Shenanigans.
Right, that's me. And don't worry, everyone, I brought my own fucking chair, and I will do, not Bigby's hand, but I will do Finley's hand. And I will summon a hand up underneath of me and kind of just caress me up in the air and just actually as you see one of those actual hand chairs where it's the thing that comes down and you sit in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
I will sit in that for a minute and then I will have to do something else.
Okay.
I'll conjure a stool and I will just sit on the stool.
Okay.
A nice, beautiful, gilded, elven designed.
All right. And then he will introduce Fire, is the headline of all of the Shroud. And he will stand up and he'll kind of gracefully bow towards the collective of everybody and says, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to find out what we can do in preparations to come. And then Urga Dropper.
She just stands, gives a nod, and sits back down.
Okay. Rin and Norin.
Rin just nods, he doesn't stand.
Okay. And then finally we have Ironside. And Ironside is the main leader of the Bane tribe, brother to Grimtoe. And he'll kind of put his arms, his elbows on the table, and he'll look over at Ivan. And he says, I was not aware that we were going to have these additions with us. What makes them qualified to be here tonight? And Ivan will kind of, adjust his coat, and he'll look and say, these are the 4 adventurers who ran through the simulator, and they defeated the ancient dragon in the simulator, and they have proven themselves to me that they are worthy of being here, and they will bring much assistance to our battle planning. And
not to mention acquiring the mystical white stag to now be housed and kept here.
And Fire will look at you, Rin, as you say that, and he'll say, you were the ones who found him?
Found and conversed and made a deal with.
And you'll see him kind of nod in approval. And Ivan says that Tavara has also vouched for them. So I think between my word and Tavara's, that is enough to explain why they are here. And we will begin the War Council meeting. and he will go over kind of just some generic information about how everyone's gathered here about preparations for the battle with the Fourth Horseman, and that is something that is very important and very looming for everybody. So as he's going over just the generic stuff, are there any questions you guys have for me before the meeting we get into the meeting?
Do we know where the Horseman is going to appear?
Are you asking the table, or are you asking me this?
That is something I would like to get from this meeting if we have the answer available to us.
Okay. Anybody else curious about how the meeting will be, or people in particular? Okay.
I'm gonna see if this all ends in bloodshed.
Okay.
Because there's a battle map? You assume there's bloodshed?
It's more of the Grimtoe and Ironsides being at the same table, but...
No, they're at opposite ends, so we're fine.
Okay, so Ivan says that even though this party has not yet done their pledge, the pledge will be during at the end of day 5. I think it's day 5. Let me double check. Yep, it'll be at the end of day 5. So in a couple days, these adventurers will take the pledge. Now, even because they haven't taken it, I have had personal conversations with them all, and they all have signified their intent of doing the pledge. But nevertheless, I think these adventurers will be of great help. And Fire will kind of speak up, and he'll say, I am curious to find out what each of our roles will be during this encounter. What information does everybody have about the upcoming Horsemen?
Well, yeah, the upcoming one, none. I have stood against the Horsemen before, and I can say that no single man is of any real use against one.
And Grimtoe will kind of perk up, and he's like, you've seen one in person?
I'll just sort of run my finger through the scar that goes across my head, like, indeed.
What was he like?
Terrifying.
Which one?
Check it.
Yeah, which one did you say?
Conquest.
Okay. So you would know that Conquest is a savage in battle, and with his bow, he hardly missed a target. And his bow didn't shoot arrows, but bolts of pure energy of his choosing. It rarely happened when you were fighting him, but the bolts did sometimes explode. He wasn't like any other bowman because he's always waiting for someone to come close, and then he would drain life out of them. He also didn't fight alone because he had his horse by his side at all times, and the horse as well seemed unkillable.
I'll sort of just lean back in the chair and cast my memory back to that lovely day. The Horseman's larger than any man I've ever seen. Conquest himself, a bowman of sorts, prefers to keep his fights up close and personal. Those who would get close to him, defending their families or their villages or themselves, and their essence drained from them. He carried no quiver. The bow itself seemed to supply its own shafts. His horse, though many tried to kill it in order to unseat him, seems immortal and can take a man's head off with a single kick. So, of course, at the time, most of us had wood axes, pitchforks, and daggers. So, what little worth we were was not much.
Okay, so they'll kind of go over the history of the 3 previous horsemen. So Conquest came in year 5. What do you guys, just to check on learning, what do you guys remember or know about Conquest?
Pop quiz.
So you just said a little bit about him. What does anyone else know? You can use the lore videos too.
Yeah. So if I recall correctly, Conquest was the one that was very much about the discord between the relations of the humanoids and caused basically civil war in Candoria. And so he was doing that at the same time. He would just randomly show up in places and just decimate everything in his path, if I'm correct.
Is he the white horse one? Did he come first?
Conquest came first.
Yeah, Conquest was the white one, yep. So a lot of the war stuff came from, the Civil War stuff came from war, actually. But Conquest,
there's war.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after that was the famine, when every speck of food was nearly eradicated from Candoria, and starvation plagued the land.
And zombies.
Man, he brought a plague with him.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, with Conquest there was massive destructions. There was some plaguing with that. There was places that were quarantined and burned. He did escape. Nobody knows what happened with him. And because he was the first one, it was completely unexpected. Nobody knew what was coming. It just came and ravaged. People kind of defended where they come, but he ended up disappearing before any actual defense could be mounted.
Do we know how long he was actually present for? Like, was it a week? Was it a month? Was it a certain number of days?
What was from the first report to the last report?
Got you. So let's see here. So their main presence, they came at the last day of the festival. All of them did at the night at the end of day 7, and they were each around for a different amount of time. And after kind of Rexkilla has redeemed by Finley an inspiration point.
Hey, what up, what up? Yeah, that's what's up. I love it.
Thank you.
It's just getting needed it.
So after kind of piecing together everything, it seems that when each horseman was here, the kind of embodiment of their presence was strongest when they were there, but they can kind of backtrack and look at the years previous. There was kind of a precursor wake of their effect, and then they came, and then there was a trailing effect, and then the next horseman would kind of come, and there was again kind of a precursor. So dealing with all that stuff in the middle of it, they couldn't see it, but now that it's looking back in the past, there were a lot of signs and tells. So when they actually manifested themselves, it made sense when they saw what they were of all the stuff leading up to it. So a lot of the Civil War stuff started happening after Conquest, but it was before war, and then war came, and then afterwards there was still the anger and hate that everybody had for each other. And then in year 15 we had famine. So the locust swarms consumed all the crops, livestock died of starvation. There was a almost complete collapse in the economy, widespread hunger in the years before, during, and after. And then the Temple of the Divine started changing their view, and they started distributing food and stuff like that to deal with all the famine stuff, and the huge agricultural focus was kicked into gear to get people fed. And now leading up to this year, this horseman, nobody knows who it's going to be or what it is, but each of the horsemen were each one that appeared was stronger exponentially than the last one. And so the reason why they are amassing you guys here and all the other adventurers to take the pledge during the pledge ceremony is because if this fourth horseman is as powerful as expected, they're going to need every able hand to help in this. And Ivan has requested you four to come here because he sees your intelligence, your charisma, your battle planning, you each bring a different skill set to the table, and you guys have proven yourself to him, and that's why he wants you here, is to help figure out what Candoria should do as a whole in defense for the horsemen.
As we're sitting here, Philly's very quiet because I'm very drunk and I'm trying to be very serious, right? Without interrupting.
Yeah.
Can I try to like sober myself up in any way? Like I don't know how I could do it. Like suck on a honey stick or something, or just like try to get myself. I'm still so after Finley's hand goes away after a minute.
Oh no!
I kind of like fall to the floor, and I'm like, all right, and I'll do telekinesis. So now I'm just floating. Now I'm just gonna float. I'm gonna sit in a chair and float for 10 minutes.
Can I just frisbee the disc at him?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, or you can do that. That's fine. Yeah. I'll take the disc.
Okay.
So I'll sit on the disc. Yeah. Is there any way I can try to start sobering myself up a little bit?
Yeah, give me another con save throw.
All right. Sure. The last two went so well.
I mean, you have an inspiration point. Oh,
how about that?
That is a sobering
nat
natural 20.
How about that?
Very nice. All right, so with the gravity of the situation, I think it would definitely sober you up quite quickly.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, someone has to say it, I guess. And I'll kind of like I'll kind of stand up on my disc, so I'm actually like kind of eye level ish with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Shake the cobwebs, Finley. Here we go. All right. I mean, let's just be to the blunt of it, right? I mean, this isn't looking good, right? We can all just agree that at the end of this week here, like, if things are as they have been before, we're looking at some dire straits here, right? So first and foremost, I myself would like to know any sort of plan we have for the people of not only this city but also other cities and the countryside. I mean, has there been any sort of plan implemented for people who won't be partaking in the fight? I mean, I'm sure it's every man, woman, and child who can pick up a stick to throw at a horseman, but let's be honest, it's not going to do all that much damage. We should probably have some. I'm more thinking of the people here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make much sense if we're going to defend the land and have no one left here living to partake in the land that we actually save if there's no one here. So has anyone thought of anything about that at all? Has any kind of plans been associated with that?
So Ivan will say that they have been tirelessly, fortifying the wall, putting up the ballistas, and mounting some kind of defense around Candoria. The hope is the Horsemen doesn't even get close to Candoria, so they're going to try to keep everybody here, and that's for safety. And then wherever the Horseman appears, send everybody to go combat it there and keep everybody safe here.
Do you have a set of sentries or people postings around to notify us where they will spawn?
There has been, we've increased to the maximum amount of guards, patrolling the wall and the perimeter, stuff like that. But most of it's going to, we're going to be doing it, the day of the expected appearance.
What happens when the Horsemen actually appear? Are they just like into existence, or is there like an effect that they have on the certain area of land where they come into? Yeah.
There's been no reports of anyone actually seeing them come, so they don't know where they appear. We kind of know where they went when they did come, but as far as how they come, where they come, it's been different every time, and nobody's seen the actual appearance.
Do they exude a sense of an essence, an evil, or something that we can detect?
Kurtz, what do you think about that, since you've actually seen one? They are just the embodiment of pure evil. I mean, even people who are evil view these guys as bad guys. What was your... I'm really fuzzy here. Focus. Come on, camera. So Kurtz, what was your impression since you've actually seen one?
Although I am unfamiliar with the arcane arts of finding and projecting yourselves in such nature as that, the beings give off a feeling. When we face a dragon, we feel fear. When you face the Horsemen, you don't feel anything. And that is not to say you do not feel fear, is that everything is overcome by an overbearing darkness that seems to come from their bodies. Perhaps the temple, Caldevar, and Tavaria may be of some assistance, which they have, by the way, Ivan already pledged to us.
That is good to hear. She has assured me as well. I fear the worst for this coming up. We can definitely use anyone's help, and he will kind of turn to Fire and to Ironside, and he'll ask, "What are your intentions with the defense of Candoria?" And surprisingly, both of them are more concerned with the well-being of protecting their tribal areas.
It's not really surprising.
Not surprising at all.
They care about Candoria, but they're more going to be individually focused on all of their people, all their warriors defending their actual places, which kind of ticks off Grandmaster Siphon. And
are you doing any different
for Siphon?
To Ivan or Siphon?
That's a good point.
Perhaps we shouldn't try and blame each other for our own selfish requests of being, self-preservation. Maybe we should think about what would be the order of attack, in a sense. Now, I don't necessarily know the effect of this particular horseman, and I'm sure we can at least guess that there's going to be an extreme amount of increased power to this compared to the others. Now, I do believe that information is our greatest asset, and we need to gather as much as we can without necessarily subjecting ourselves to becoming completely eradicated. You wouldn't want to send your strongest forces only to go in with ignorance and end out dead. So perhaps what we should try and do is to at least find a way to make a chain of reconnaissance, find a way to figure out where this creature emerges itself. Once we do, we can then see if we can ascertain its strengths, understand perhaps what it can and cannot do, and then form a battle plan during that time. Now, currently, in order to do that, we need to cast a very wide net to figure out where they might appear. Does anyone have a chain of individuals that you have set across Candoria that can at least notify one another? Do they have sending abilities? Can they at least pass messages across the realms, or at least notify you if something changes?
Grandmaster Siphon will speak up, and he'll say that the damaged teleporter pads have been reconstructed, and we have them in each of the main areas. So if each group, each tribe had their own scouts out, we could use those teleportation pads to quickly send runners to report any findings. And Fire will say, there's no better scouts in the land than my cheetahs, and we have enough forces to where we can cover the cheetahs' homes, and we can utilize them as scouts. They're very, very quick. They are great at gathering intel, and we can have them be runners for reporting any sightings.
It's not so much having people see the horsemen if they can't communicate and spread that word very, very quickly.
We're welcome to any ideas. What do you guys have for ideas?
Indeed, Master Fire, or Lord Fire, King Fire, what the fuck his title is.
You can just call him Fire, yeah.
Fire.
Fire!
Well, I do not doubt the skill of your scouts. Not too long ago, I was told by a tiger in your armies that no human can match a tiger in a match of strength. And yet I arose the victor. Perhaps, well, yes, we do need to protect our own nations and our own interests. We gather the best scouts from each nation with their own strengths and form them together. We might not be one as of right now with facing the horsemen on the field of battle as three armies become one, but, well, if one nation falls, the other two would like to know, and 3 scouts are better than 1.
So Ivan has been, his whole focus the last few years that he's been in charge of Candoria has been about unifying people and about fortifying Candoria. So in Candoria and the surrounding areas, this message of unity has been bringing people to the capital, but so that includes the Revenant. The Revenant have been a part of that, and the Revenant have been kicking into high gear training and getting all their wizards ready for battle. But the Bane and the Shroud have kind of stayed inclusive. They have their dealings, they have trade, they have things that they do with Candoria, but they have not been stepping out and been actively helping Candoria. It's all been about fortifying their own areas. And from what you can gather so far, they don't seem willing to mount up any defense other than their own, but they might be persuadable about reacting to different things. And why is my camera being all crazy?
Defenses are certainly fine, but at the same time, I'm sure you should have at least what I would consider a mass exodus plan. Depending on where this entity arrives, I'm assuming you'd want to send your people immediately through the teleportation pads to a safer location, correct?
That's what we're here for, is to get your guys' input on what actions we should take if certain things happen. So any contingencies, anything like that, if this happens, then we do that. Like these protocols, this is why this meeting is here, and we really want to get your, we all have our own expertise, but that's why you adventurers are here, because you have a lot of experience in the field.
Well, the best thing I could understand, perhaps to maybe giving you some form of at least a battle plan prior to actually even knowing what we are fighting against. You should definitely have yourselves set out to scouting and notifying any of the local areas where this creature might appear. Once it does, notify immediately to us here back in Candoria proper. We shall be able to at least perhaps send us out with a few other selected individuals. Go out there, survey, scout, try to ascertain the strength of the creature, during which time it'll probably head to the nearest large populace. At that point, while we are trying to delay and ascertain the creature's strengths, you could use that time to evacuate immediately, as opposed to letting yourself just shore up your defenses. I think you best make sure that you have everyone ready to be able to leave at a moment's notice. Your defenders can certainly buy you more time in case we are unsuccessful, but I think immediate, flight would be the first course of action until we know what we're up against.
Grimtoe will say, I think it would be prudent to launch a full-scale attack as soon as the Horseman has been spotted.
Well, that's foolish. Why would you put all your eggs in one basket?
The other Horsemen have always disappeared, and I think that we could get rid of the problem if we could actually defeat this foe.
It's an interesting plan, Lord Grimtoe. Tell me, are your soldiers immune to fear?
Are you?
No. I'm not.
I don't think anybody's immune to fear.
Some are.
Stand against the Horsemen. And your men, your rank and file soldiers, will more than likely turn tail and trample each other into the dust, then charge forward.
Okay. And when you start getting onto the topic of fear, Ivan's going to kind of go on a tangent, and he'll talk about, he's going to be asking you guys, since you're kind of the most powerful of all the adventurers, that when that feast comes during the time where you guys do the pledge, that you guys kind of be an example for the other adventurers, and be, have confidence, for the common folk and for these other adventurers, because his main fear is panic, mass hysteria. So he thinks that the common people will follow the example led by all the other pledged adventurers, and they're probably going to be looking towards you guys, and wants to know what you guys think about that, and what your plan is for, leading by example for that, as far as hope and, not being afraid.
Well, you can't control necessarily the fear, but you can try to dampen it with some other occupation. Sometimes, usually when people have something fearful, or a force that can't necessarily be stopped, or a fate that can't be avoided, sometimes having the thought of the best course of action and what to do might be a good way to at least keep the populace occupied on something rather than just going to panic. I'd suggest perhaps printing out flyers and other information documents that you could try to distribute to all of your local denizens. Give them information for how they could handle themselves during a time when either an alarm is raised or one is cited. Either perhaps for if an evacuation alarm is sounded, proceed in this manner, do not take anything with you, move as quickly as you can. Or if you perhaps have a hunker down one, tell them to lock their doors, bar the windows, and do something like that. If you give them at least something that they know what to do in a situation, rather than just giving them no information, you should at least give yourself a bit more of a buffer to avoiding outright panic and riot.
This is also why we incorporated the church into the plans. We hope that they will be able to help us in blessing the troops, whether actually blessing them or praying over them. Religious fervor has a very strong effect on the common soldier, and hopefully that will be enough to stay them should they wish to run.
Ivan will say he really likes this idea you're saying, Rin, about busy work, whether it be prayer in the temple or something. What are some ideas you guys can think of for the pre-planned busy work to give common folk to keep them from being idle hands? Because that's a major concern of Ivan's, is just what do we do with the people? Obviously their defenses and everything, like, we're going to do what we can, but his main focus is
I would suggest perhaps
Go ahead.
a couple of things that you can do to at least give assurances. One, you can also issue decrees to, saying if you hear a certain alarm or a certain pattern or some kind of notification to them, they'll know how to react appropriately. If you call for an exodus, you sound a certain rhythm, beat, pattern, or music or noise, however you wish to do it. That'll immediately
instead
tell
of
them.
hypotheticals, he's looking for actual examples.
Certainly.
Where should they go? Yeah,
Well, if you let's say if you have a drum rhythm pattern, you start this. Is there a common one that we all know? Finley, you're a good musician. Do you know of any pattern beats that are well known throughout Candoria that they would recognize?
Yeah, right.
Flight of the Valkyries.
Gosh. As everyone's been talking here, I'm, Philly's kind of stroking his beard and everything, and kind of listening intently. And it's like, well, before we get to all of this, brochures and everything, I think it's right that we talk about the people. But looking into the past, to learn from it and be ready for the future here. The horsemen in the past have shown up unannounced, no real place or destination of start. They don't really stay for amounts of time. They leave death and destruction in their wake, or plagues. But, has anyone ever figured out, when I go into a tavern and I'm looking around here and I see, a lass over here or such, and, I go in there with some sort of intention and I have something that I want, whether I'm wearing, my robe and my slippers or I'm dressed to the nines, And what I'm trying to get at is, it doesn't matter the face of the evil coming for us. It's, has anyone ever figured out what do these horsemen even want? Have ever figured that out, or they just come and just kill a whole bunch of people and then run away after a week or two? If we know what they want, couldn't we be a little bit more prepared in terms of maybe setting up some sort of bait or trap here? I think we're taking a lot more of the defensive here, and if we're going to be offensive about it, having a little bit more information about what the fuck we're doing might be to our best benefit.
Well, information, I agree with you, Finley. It's key.
I think rather than ask what they want, we can look to what they've succeeded in doing. The sisters are gone. Alundra has disappeared. The nations are divided. So they have succeeded in removing a number of safeguards, both spiritual and physical, from the land.
Right. But didn't the sisters leave before the horsemen showed up?
They did, but
at the moment,
everything
right now,
else. I agree with you. Yeah.
Do you guys think it's connected?
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
I suspect that possibly the three sisters were maybe responsible for holding greater beings like the horsemen out of our existence. Without their constant protection, these things have been able to slip through. Apparently, at certain times, possibly some obscure astrological lineup of some kind allows something of great power to slip through into our plane.
It also could be a counterbalance, in a sense where you can't have one without the other without it being, stabilized. If you have 3 divine entities and 1 high priestess, you have 4 horsemen, 4 and 4. It could be just synced in that manner, but I don't necessarily know how they've come into being, but I don't think we want to question the past. We need to prepare for the future. We can look to it.
All I'm really saying here is that, I've been thinking about this not just now, but over the course of time here, and if we're going to sit down and talk about it, what brings the Horsemen in the first place? Now, if it's the sisters leaving and to cause chaos and panic, that's fine, but there's got to be some sort of reason for not only showing up in the first place, but then what makes one leave? And then a couple years later, another one comes with some different, bullshit that it throws at us, and then stays for a different amount of time. So what I'm getting at here is maybe if we know a little bit more about what makes one show up in the first place, what the intentions are, and then how to get the fuck rid of one, maybe we might have a little bit more of a procedure here.
Well, I have a hypothesis if you wish to hear it. I don't like to dwell on things I have no true fact on, but if you want to think about it in a sequence of events, think about it like this. Horseman comes, does what they need to do. If they've completed their mission, they leave. They have no more reason to stay. Now, what the mission is, we don't know. But if perhaps the mission was first initially to whittle out the forces to cause panic, then it was to whittle out the population again and cause more internal strifing to weaken them, and then even more weakening again. It's at that point, similar to any battle tactician, you try to whittle down your forces, the enemy forces, so that the resistance, when it comes in full, is less likely to be able to successfully counter it. So if they've just been continuously depleting us, that would be one thing. However, the other more nefarious thing is perhaps if they were intending it to be like this and dwindle the amount of, denizens across the land, and to begin to condense them into easily marked pockets of civilization, the last remaining bastions, the cities themselves, then they've done a very good job at making sure that all that remain here in Candoria are nestled nicely in these little places that could easily be assaulted and eradicated with ease. If the last horseman comes in and completely just chooses one location, everyone that is sheltered inside the walls would be finished. It's a certain good way to eradicate.
So Ivan will have a deep look of worry in his face, and he'll look at you, Rin, and he'll say, so do you think that all of the work I've done with bringing people together is the worst thing that we could have done?
No, strength in numbers is certainly the most important thing. However, I think we need to make sure that we don't necessarily fall into a trap if we know what the trap is. If we let them assume that we are falling into their plans, but we are able to foresee them, we might be able to use that to our advantage. Such as, for instance, if you have bastions across Candoria from the tribes of the Shroud as well as into the Bane's holds, we should be able to at least notify those locations that if you find a horseman appearing, immediately evacuate if you can. Now, if we do see that suddenly one of any of these places is completely destroyed and lost in the span of a second or so, then perhaps you might wish to then spread out and let them flee into the countrysides at that point. For one horseman cannot necessarily gather up all the ants that spread across the lawn, but if you have them immediately in one anthill, it's much simpler to torch it and completely destroy the colony.
That's against the purpose, though, isn't it? If we're merely fighting for survival, then yes, we should spread out across the land and form small colonies and war bands and tribes and things of that nature, but we're not. We're trying to establish our societies and our cities once again. Spreading out is survival, yes, it is an excellent strategy for survival, but what if we want more than survival?
I think the biggest thing is to at least survive until you're able to know how to live again.
It's been 15 years, Ren, and we still don't know what's going on.
Well, that just means bad information gathering.
What do you guys think is... You brought up earlier about the intentions. What do you feel is the intentions of this fourth horseman?
We're in the end game.
I'd assume,
dun.
I'd assume if the power of the last one is perhaps capable of being tenfold to the others, and if their intent is to be able to eradicate all, higher powers or life on Candoria, then forcing us into pockets, little places to then just nuke, in a sense, to completely destroy, it certainly is much easier to guarantee the extinction of a species.
Hey DM, add a game contact real quick, or this can be in game. How old is like Candoria in general? The world.
The world itself, like Candoria proper, or Candoria
History,
continent?
that sort of thing.
The whole shabam.
I think it'd be kind of similar to us as far as like documented history is, thousands of years, but then there's signs and speculations of it being much, much older, but there wasn't necessarily like...
Cool, that works.
Nope,
that works, that's fine. Back in game. Just out of sheer curiosity here, and if I'm barking up the wrong tree, I won't climb it anymore, but, we've had a little bit of time here. We've had one show up, followed by another and another. Has anyone done any kind of, diving into the tomes or the scrolls here? Has anything like this ever happened before in any of our histories? Even mentioning of these kind of things coming, we've given them names and they've caused chaos here. And has anyone ever heard anything like this before? And I'll look at like Grandmaster Siphon and Fire and Ironhide over here and Ironside and like. Yeah, any of our twisting cultures here, has anyone ever heard of any horsemen coming before in the past? I mean, this is only in the last 20 years or so, and I mean, we've been along a lot longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Give me a history check, Rin, since you have the best one of the party.
There's no real point in any of
I mean, you looked at everyone but Rin.
and after I look at all them, I will look over at Rin and inspire him, be like, I mean, something surely in your elven culture.
Inspiration, that kind of thing?
Yep. Yeah, can I give a bardic inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since I brought up the question in the
Ding to me, my muse.
Knock one off here.
Oh, I rolled a 9 out of a d12. That's good.
Okay, so that's a 29?
Yeah.
Okay, so you take pride in knowing the history of the world and everything that you've pieced together. This is the first time in history that these series of events have ever happened. It doesn't seem to have been a repeating thing. But you also know that this is the first time the goddesses have been gone too. It's like there wasn't a recorded time of the goddesses being gone. This would be the first time for that as well.
Everything is a first now, Finley. Nothing has happened prior.
All right. Fuck. And I'll look around and be like, I mean, sorry. No, fuck.
No.
Yeah.
Well, let's move back to the horsemen themselves. We're obviously at a discourse with defenses, and we have some good ideas about getting the people to react properly and spread out if the worst should happen. But the horsemen themselves, our main goal is, of course, to kill him, or it, or whatever you want to call it when it comes. Do we have proof that they can even be killed or wounded?
Well, that's, again, information we absolutely need. And I feel that perhaps the greatest strength that we have is to try and, use our somewhat ability to predict that they're going to appear, and at least one is going to appear in the next few days. Take that, be prepared. When it does happen, have all our contingencies lined up in a row, and go out, scout, maybe do a skirmish, see the strength of this creature, find out if we could defeat it in one battle, then by all means, of course. But if we know that there is a certain pattern, a certain ability, or some kind of force that they're able to wield, and we want to be able to eventually counter that, or at least have something to prevent it from overwhelming us, we need to at least see it, analyze it, and retreat to then find another way to counter and make a battle plan again. This battle plan is not going to necessarily be the one that will end all battle plans tonight. Right now, we just need to know what is the first step in this long line of a war that we are about to face.
Well, I have an idea about its possible abilities, but unfortunately we're missing the person I need to ask the questions of.
Who are you needing?
Well, not Master Siphon. How long ago did the church pass an edict that necromancy was banned from all casters?
I believe that was Tavara's one of her first executive orders when she became the new head priestess. So that would be about 20 years ago.
Oh, what a surprise.
I think I see where you're going with this, Urkra.
There was never a like a school of magic for necromancy, but some people did. But when she came into power, it's one of the things that she noticed was just evil acts and evil magics. She was absolutely not okay with it and thought it was very blasphemous, like contrary to anything the goddesses would want. And that was one of the things she outspoke about Tavara being false, was that she never took actions against that. That doesn't mean that...
Alundra?
Yeah, Alundra, excuse me. So that doesn't mean Alundra did necromancy. She just
finally
never
did it.
took a stand. Yeah, fuck.
Everyone does it.
She never...
Everyone does
just it. Tavara used the fact that Alundra didn't have an official outspoken stance against necromancy to defame her.
Did it always have the death sentence, or was that a more recent thing?
Yeah, that was a Tavara capital.
Was it a more recent thing, or was that always the case?
The actual official decree has been recent.
That was not a thing that was always the capital punishment for those things. That was all Tavara's.
My question is because we've been able to retroactively look and see that there have been currents of what the last Horseman would be in the past. I personally have not practiced any necromancy, but perhaps Tavara knows that somehow, perhaps when someone is brought back from the dead, something is going wrong. I know for a fact that she is taking great lengths to treat every single dead body so it cannot be brought back from the dead.
Isn't that a good thing? Ivan will ask.
Well, not necessarily.
My fear is that this Horseman would be able to bring back anyone who falls to it, or possibly anyone who has fallen to any sort of Horseman. There are a lot more dead than there are alive in any continent.
Wow. So if, this is all speculation, but if this last Horseman could bring back people who have died, then isn't that a good thing that she's making it so people can't be brought back?
Can she do that to every single soldier we send out to face the Horseman?
I'm not sure. We could definitely inquire about that, though.
I can tell you no. Absolutely not.
For this, before we go too much further,
at what cost?
I would like to talk to Tavara and see if there actually is a more reason beyond just her moral feelings on why necromancy has been given the death penalty.
Not to mention, there's one other thought that is not necessarily the nicest to think about, but perhaps, well, just to put it in a little bit of a simple manner, the information that we seek, the greatest amount and the greatest source of it comes from those who are no longer among the living. If we could have resurrected any of those who faced a Horseman and saw their powers and their efforts and their mission, we'd be able to understand them a bit better, but anyone who has fallen has not been allowed the chance to once more walk again among the living, to be able to share this knowledge. She has effectively cut all attempts to regain that. Now, I don't know her true intent, but that has been a side effect from this.
At this point, I think I will be very curious to hear each of your four personal opinion about death. How do you feel about it? Is it an important part of life? How do you feel about Tavara's trying to make sure people can't come back? How do you guys each personally feel about death?
Yes, Finley, how do you feel about death?
Right. Well, before we keep going, I think it was really funny how Connor was like, "Oh, I need this person to talk to," and Sean's like, "Who do you need? Because I am the DM, and I will just get the fuck out of air for you." Who do you need? That was great. I was like, he's gonna pull a freaking NPC out of fucking midair. All right.
Rodriguez.
All right, back
A
in.
grappling hook comes over the side of the roof, and you see this person. Yeah, the exact person.
Hey, yo, Rodriguez.
What random timing person I need to talk to?
Hey, Aaron.
Oh yeah, that's good.
We all know it ain't gonna be Timmy.
Oh man, terrible.
Too soon.
How does Finley feel about death? Right. I mean, I feel like we all have our place and time. We all have our destinies and our fates to, live out. And I do feel sometimes maybe, people or beings are maybe snuffed out before their full time and of enjoying their full capacity of life. And that's really what I'm really kind of fighting for here is the people of this land. I want to make sure that they're safe. Whatever happens to me or to us, I mean, we haven't pledged our oaths yet, but I've said I would give to the cause, to give to something not so selfish to myself for once. But I mean, the people is what really matters, because we could save the land, but there's no people to live in it. Well, there's really, again, as I mentioned before, there's no real point to this whole thing, now, is there? Wow, that silenced the room. Shit. All right, let me just mic drop that one. All right.
I'm curious to hear everyone's.
Why not you?
Spence said, why is it too soon? He's dead, so he can't feel bad about Timmy.
Because I figured that I should go last.
All right. Urger will sit up in that case. I was raised with a lot of death. I was raised by my mother, who was the shaman of an orcish tribe. And if some of you aren't familiar with the term, a shaman is essentially a necromancer. A person who helps people transition from the living to the dead, perform burial rites and all that sort of thing. And I have seen her contact spirits from beyond to gather information and to get closure for those who have been left behind. Necromancy does not particularly strike fear into me, although I know it can be used for very bad purposes. As far as death, it is just, for me, the next step. There is only so much we can learn about it before it happens to us.
Fuck, that was deep. That's out of game, but goddamn. Ooh.
She picks up Finley's mic and then drops it.
I hand it over. I'm like, oh shit, hold on. Here, let me just pick that up. Here, now your turn.
Redundant mic dropping. Kurtz?
Ooh.
Kurtz.
You're the one I'm most curious to see what you say about this.
Yeah. Well, I have seen and dealt and given death freely for many years. And all I can say I've gathered from that is death is nothing to us. When death is not come, we are, and when it has come, we are not. When I pierce the heart of a man and he is gone, he is gone. Maybe he is brought back, but for the moment, he is no longer my problem or my concern. So death, bring them back as wretched zombies in masses of putrid flesh, and they will fall again just as easily as they fell the first time. Their existence is just another stitch in the tapestry. Tivaria wants to be afraid of necromancy, let her be afraid. But, as for me, there are worse things than death.
Like what?
Surviving.
So, I have a question to ask before I answer with Rin.
Mm-hmm.
I know a bit beforehand, and Rin has obviously had something to experiment with. Does he know that one of his spells, in particular in regard to the subject, does not function?
I don't know what you're leading up to.
Okay, there's a specific spell. It is
In his spell
necromantic
list.
in my spells that I have, but
What is that? I didn't hear you.
I have a spell in my spell list that is it's necromancy, and from what I've told in terms of like it's ineffective, has Rin experimented enough with it to know that it is ineffective, or has it just been sitting there and he doesn't know this yet?
Which spell is it?
Clone.
Yeah.
Click it just so I could read it.
I mean, would you have reason to have cast it as Rin?
Oh yes.
Oh.
Um,
Worrywart.
Dude wants to live forever, man.
I was gonna say it's a freaking wizard. He's like, I'm the squishiest. I will most likely die first. Do I want to die? Probably not.
I mean, I did see session 0. You were pretty close sometimes.
The real trick is that he is the clone.
There was a lot.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an 8th level necromancy spell. So, you obviously have it prepared. You know how it's done.
And he would have attempted to try it.
I would say you. Okay, so hypothetically, at this point, before I give an answer, what would you have tried cloning?
Myself.
Okay, so as far as you know, necromancy spells, they do work. There's no like magical overseeing all-knowing thing that stops it. It's just if the temple finds out about it, then they get really pissed and they take action. So necromancy magic is doable.
Okay, and I didn't notice anything wrong when experimenting and testing it out.
No.
Okay, all right, sorry, that's fine. All right, then with me not knowing anything being wrong, so Rin would just say, I see death as a transition. It is a phase from the material to an immaterial, where you find yourselves exploring a different reality, and in most cases you are still carrying your own torch, your soul, that is able to explore the different realms and eventually might even return to the material plane. I believe that it is just a temporary state at times, but the sad thing is, of course, is that when you return, sometimes you might forget or lose your presence of yourself. For an elf, it is a bit more of a difficult thing to describe to the rest of you, and I cannot necessarily expect you to accept my ways and beliefs. However, I will allow you to believe as you shall, and I shall not pressure you to try and understand what it means to...
Siphon will actually be very, very curious to see. So he knows that you tried to get part of the school and you weren't, allowed, and then you did your own thing. So he kind of has his own personal special interest in you and your elven thing, because elves are not common. I mean, there's one here or there, but they're definitely, a rarity. So he wants to know if you're willing to share a bit about elves and where they come from and what they believe and who they are and stuff like that.
Careful with your next words, Ren.
Yes. Do I believe this is taboo? Should I not be sharing this?
You can insight check if you want.
Okay. This isn't like my best stat. Not. I have negatives in insight. 6.
Okay. So...
Would I know?
Yeah, you can insight check as well. Everybody can if you want, actually.
Do I have advantage?
What are we
because
wait. What are we insight checking?
Siphon asking...
Siphon's intentions.
With about asking about elves.
Would I have any sort of advantage because of my history?
Oh, with your wife?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Ooh.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Insight's not my best stat either.
Oh man, we're
Okay.
not great. No one is insightful.
You may not be charismatic.
So, none of you see any alter motives for this, and I'll say this on 2 levels. 1, because of your roles, but 2, also he's just letting you know that he just wants to know about it. And I think with Kurtz, you in particular would be curious too. So your wife did share some stuff, but you've always had the desire to learn more about elves. But so there are maybe things. I don't want to tell you what to think, but I think that just wanting to know more about who your wife was and where she came from would mean something to you. You know what I mean? So the fact that he brought this question up, I would just assume that you would probably yourself be curious as well and want to hear the answer. But yeah, none of you guys pick up any ill intent. It was more just we're all sharing information. We're trying to figure out where it's going, and knowledge is strength, you know, so that's where he's coming from with it.
Well, to put it in a simple term without really going beyond extreme detail, the main core of our understanding is that there is, in essence, another plane. We tend to think of it as a Feywild, where there are different regions in it that allow those who have certain, alignments that you exhibited in life that will determine your eventual location in this other realm. And depending on how devout you might have been, how knowledgeable you truly are of this place, you might not necessarily be welcomed into the summer courts. You might eventually find yourselves in the winter courts. Those of you with good hearts and intentions, I'm sure, would eventually find your way there and perhaps maybe, work to a greater place within this realm, to be let free from the lower regions, in a sense, but not necessarily as in to try and segregate or to diminish your own beliefs or your race either. But for most of us, we believe that since we are aware of this and are a bit more insightful to this afterlife, that we have a greater connection, and we also will have almost a reserved spot for us to be, since we are aware, and we do believe that it does have its hold on our souls. And the goddesses perhaps have a say, and they have a connection to this, but for those of you who do not truly understand this, you will never fully obtain the final resting position in the Feywild. But that's a dreary thought, and we don't want to try and let you feel that perhaps you might have no hope or any chance of maybe even gaining a greater seat within the afterlife. Perhaps you might find your ways higher up.
Hold on. You're saying that when elves die, they go to this... What's a plane?
Do you know where the mansion is, the manor that I create?
Physically or ephemerally, ethereally?
Well, you know that when you enter in a space that is larger than the space that it occupies.
Yes.
That is a demi-plane. That is an existence between planes. It has a temporary creation that kind of sits between worlds. So another plane of existence is another parallel reality. Something that is connected but not connected.
And you're saying that when elves die, they go to this plane.
That is correct, yes.
All elves.
All elves. Well, most elves.
Kurtz is just, really pissed off he's hearing this for the first time.
Okay.
So what you're saying is things can travel there.
Well, I never heard of anyone traveling necessarily for a temporary visit of any kind. I mean, I assumed once you enter, you don't necessarily have free reign to leave unless you are returning back to the material to probably be reborn.
But
there is a sense of multiple lives.
We transport ourselves into a smaller plane, so why couldn't we transport ourselves into a larger plane?
Well, I mean, it's possible with enough study, maybe. I've never read anything, and certainly I look over towards the Grandmaster, and certainly the masters of the Revenants are not keen on sharing any of that particular magic or research. So I am not privy to that particular endeavor. If you wish to perhaps ask, you could try and see if they might let you know, but at the moment I feel like the only one they might get preferential treatment to is Urgra.
Kurtz, I understand that this is a painful subject for you, but I'm worried this is not the time, and time is not on our side at this moment.
It kind of snaps back into like reality. Yes, of course.
Ivan, is there a particular reason why you asked for our opinions on death?
It was just brought up. I was just curious. More so with fear. I'm worried about the fear that may spread through people. Fear of death, fear of pain, fear of losing things, and could cause hysteria. And I was more so to see if facing a very powerful foe, you guys, we could all end up dying. I was just curious what your guys' fear is of death.
I see. Might I ask, Fire, Bane, Ironside, Iron.
Grimtoe, Ironside, Fire. Yeah.
That's it. Grimtoe, yes. Grimtoe, Ironside, and Fire. Did any of you have renowned heroes and great warriors of any kind that had fallen previously to the Horsemen and have been kept in memorial or burial grounds of some sorts to honor them in your cities?
So with the dwarves, they have burial rituals. Sometimes bodies are cremated. It's just kind of a preferential what somebody wants. You can kind of relate dwarves to kind of like our Viking history, sort of. How there's honor in dying in combat, and like you don't want to die dishonorably. So they're very much like that. So anybody who dies in battle, whether it be for a good or bad reason, is honorable. So they view more of like the process of the remains of the person is kind of reflective of what people would perceive their honor was. So if somebody was a criminal and just died of or some random thing that was not honorable, they may not even do anything with the body. They just let the world take it, the elements or whatever. But yes, there is a history of their heroes and people who have done stuff. What exactly are you asking though?
Well, perhaps if you either of any one of you have any existing bodies that have not been necessarily purged by the High Temple, we might be able to gather information from them in what they had seen from the Horsemen.
So there is a good chance that there are those warriors that are back at the Bane area that the temple never did those processes on.
Finley, how extensive is your capability of returning the dead to the living?
Now, are you asking table talk, or are you saying this in game?
Good point.
I'm okay with either way, but it's going to change.
I think I just kind of spilt that without. Yeah, I probably just said that out loud to Finley.
No, I'm letting you think about it. Like, are you asking Kyle or are you asking Finley?
I was asking Finley.
It came out.
Okay.
I just literally pulled an Urgra where it's like, oh, it's not my money.
Okay. And
Finley's eyes instantly go wide over at Ren, like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What?
Okay.
Kurtz just very slowly just his sword, looking around the table.
I'll try to play it off too after he makes a slip. Like, fuck. No, I mean, Ren, I appreciate that. I am quite fucking amazing, but I don't really possess too many any kind of. I'm more. Don't you remember the thing I did earlier where I did like the hibbity bit? Like, I'm more like illusions, man. I'm not very keen on the old hibbity bib. I'm wibbity wibbit, not hibbity bibbity. Does that make sense? Right? I'm not very much into the.
Yeah. Give me a persuasion check.
Fuck. All right.
Deception.
Or deception. Yeah, deception. That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Deception.
Yeah, deception.
Give a possession check.
Yeah.
All right. Come on.
You still have that insight point.
Oh my god, you rolled a 2. Oh my god.
It is a
The
20
worst
though.
thing you could
You
roll.
have it. You have your inspiration.
I will. I'll burn a lucky
But it
point just
can't
because
be worse than that.
this is kind of fucking important. Like not to fuck this up.
You have an 18 and you rolled a 2. The one thing you can't re-roll naturally is
I know,
a
right?
halfling.
Right. Where's it at? I'm gonna burn a lucky point.
Okay.
Oh my
god!
It's meant to be.
The dice are telling me it's a 20. We're sticking with it.
We're
Okay.
so fucked.
I'm not doing that shit again. That's
All
what
right.
it is.
Because you can't. The lucky only works once.
It's amazing. I think by the way, every time I've used lucky, like nothing's fucking happened. It's just nothing happens.
Okay.
Sometimes they're worse.
So you'll see a couple people at the table kind of take interest to what was said.
It's still fucking 20. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, but then
Jesus.
but Ivan is your biggest fan, and his impression of you would be, to give you the benefit of the doubt in anything. So I think that he would definitely, like, if there was any discontent, he would start vouching for you. But I would think that it wouldn't. People would maybe take note of it, but they're not saying anything or acting out on it.
And let's try to get back onto the real keystone of the matter here, right? Let's talk Horsemen, okay? Let's get back to the issue on the table, and I'll try to like switch topics.
Right, for sure.
Rin just did. All right, so I'll just switch topics real quick.
Okay.
Just to go along with that 20. What are maybe? I'm trying to help out here the best I can here with our thought processes here. What do the Horsemen want? What's gonna make them leave? What are we defending the people? Are we moving people? Are we attacking? Are we pushing them back? Why don't we talk about this? What here, gentlemen and lady? What is a win for us, huh? Like maybe we should talk about what's that, because if we're gonna inspire people, if we're gonna have confidence, right? But we don't know what the fuck we're trying to do. I mean, sure, let's kill the Horsemen. That's I think we're kind of shooting for the moon there with that one, given prior circumstances here. So what's a victory for us here? Is it just surviving till the fucking thing leaves? Are we gonna try to just amass this full-on slaughter of death and destruction and battle epicness until someone falls here, or what's a win here is what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, and with that question, we will take our next break, and when we come back,
okay.
we will find out what the win for us is. So thanks for sticking with us, everybody. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Woo! Good, because I gotta pee.
It comes up, I just do one of these deals where it's just like
jumping all over your body. You'll see the vendor just cracking up.
She's not just a client to me, Your Honor, but she's a near and dear, true friend. And
I don't have really any spells left, so I'm just gonna start going. I'm gonna use prestidigitation to just keep blowing.
You got like little joints that they just suck into or something, and they slide in with friction. Or if there's maybe like I can make you some cream, Finley. You can dip your tongue in it. You'll be fine.
second bear.
It's fine. He's like, I don't care about shit. No disadvantage to this magic bullcrap. Missiles again.
Do you have to breathe? You can try using one.
That's not
a good idea.
I'm actually
gonna reach out and pull out the divinity symbol from my shirt and just sort of like, this is an unholy place.
Yep.
This is the epitome of handling an animal. You're free falling. That's what.
Your heart can heal if you just let it.
So, okay, how are we gonna work this here?
A fair price for a fair bargain of such rare and majestic items. Wouldn't you?
What's your total damage?
25 total.
Woo!
That's a big hit, dude.
That is an eyeball piercer.
Shit.
And then grab onto the wings and try to glide it into the ground.
Yes.
Okay. She'll slam her staff into the ground and she'll say, Caldivar, then I order you to arrest Cain in the name of the High Temple, and we will end all of session 0. So good job, guys. Well played.
Hello there, everyone's favourite halfling bard, Finley Shenanigan here. Being the soulful adventurer that I am, and known for telling a tale or two, pull up a stool to grab a pint as I tell you a story about my favourite hero, me. In my years of travelling, I met people of all walks and cultures. Although the horsemen coming didn't affect me directly, I saw the toll they left behind. The destruction and devastation these villainous beings left in their wake sparked something within me. How was I, Finley Shenanigan, to become the greatest, most legendary bard that Candoria had ever seen, if no one was around to behold my glory? More importantly, where is Alundra? When will she be back? And what will she be wearing? Hopefully something revealing. Anywho, setting on my journey, I shared my glamour with those who had never witnessed such pure, unadulterated excellence before. My legacy was to replace their despair and unite the people for the war yet to come. In the end of the day, everyone can be a hero. Everyone has a little adventure inside of them. And if you don't, would you like one?
Salutations. I am Rin Anoran, historian of Candoria, renowned problem solver, an elf of esteemed conscience. When I became of age, I set out as a Rena and departed from my home of Othalos to the city of Egoras to study the arcane arts. With some difficulties, I was able to teach myself while working as a scribe in the library of Alashar. There, I produced a masterpiece of Candoria's history and its secrets, my manifesto, the true record of our world. However, even my aspirations dwindled when Alundra's guidance vanished, followed by the devastation from the Horsemen's wake. Despite all the wounds we have suffered, I shall never let our existence be forgotten, for I believe our best hope lies with our knowledge and story made eternal.
My name is Kurt Glaskin, and I have lost everything that I've loved in this world. My daughters, my wife, my friends, all of them dead to the Horsemen. And now I have a chance to redeem myself, to protect my friends, to lead humanity into a new age of light and hope. Alundra abandoned us, the goddesses abandoned us, and left us with these monsters. And I want to take everything from them that they've taken from us. I live in a world of blood and hatred and violence, and so I will become that violence. I will be that hatred, and I will be exactly what we need. A sword against the darkness.
My name is Urgra Dropper, and I am a dependable ambassador. I was the only half-breed in my mother's tribe of orcs where the threat of being eaten constantly hung over my head. And yet, those were some of the happiest times of my life compared to my time with the Revenant. I was 12 when I first picked up a bow and started hunting, and I quickly found that people make the most interesting prey and often deserve an arrow in the head far more than most monsters. Magic and even the Three Sisters were always something weird and sinister to me. That is, until by chance I crossed paths with the High Priestess Alundra, who showed me that magic, like everything else, can be used for good or for evil. And that's what I'll keep on repeating to myself every time one of those stuck-up magical morons say something that makes me want to cut out their tongues.
The following program features adults using adult language. You have been warned.
Yes, exactly.
All right, and we are back. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We left off with the question of what is a win for us. Finley asked that. So, let's talk about that. What is win case scenarios?
Well, we'll live or die if we inspire the people to survive and fight back. That's a win in my book.
I would say averting destruction by any means possible. If it has to be through eradicating a horseman, then so be it. But if we could banish it, negotiate, or any other means to stop it so that we don't have ourselves all die, then yes. Anything that allows us to subdue the threat.
I'd say end this cycle of horsemen one way or another. We don't need a fifth.
So Ivan will bring up, he didn't even think about a fifth. Do you guys think that there would be something else after? Because the other ones just disappeared. Maybe this one will just disappear and there's something after as well.
There's no reason to assume that there wouldn't be another one.
Possible. Might I ask a quick question off the side table? How did we come to their names? How do we know them as Conquest, War, and
yeah, they were just named after their behavior. So
okay, so people named them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right. So they did just like come and go, I am Conquest.
Right. No, yeah. Hear me roar. Yeah, no.
I am war, motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was just the common name that people gave them based on their their effects.
Right. Do we know if any have they spoken? Kurtz, you saw one firsthand. Did it actually utter any words?
DM, did it actually utter any words?
You did not hear it utter words, but that doesn't mean
I was
it doesn't.
Busy dying.
Did it make a sound? Did it make any kind of noise?
Ice cream truck.
I mean,
open its mouth and it goes.
Entertainer.
Yeah, laughter as slaughtering innocents.
Yep.
War cries.
Yeah. Just laughed as it killed my family and friends.
At least Kurtz is the closest we have to what you would consider as a witness. Kurtz, when you saw this creature and he entered wherever this battle occurred and he came, what did he do? And then when was he satisfied enough to leave? Since obviously there was no victory for you, that must have meant he was satisfied with something or something else called him away.
Well, it attacked in the night. A great storm preceded it. I remember that. I heard voices in the village. I ran down and saw it slaughtering. I grabbed up a woodsman axe and attacked it, and one of its shots from the bow grazed my head. And I blacked out when I came to. The dogs were attempting to feast on me. I fought them off, but he was gone.
Wait a minute. The dogs were left unharmed, or were these dogs just wild animals?
Well, the wild, one way or another. They might have been wild previously. They might have realized that everyone's dead, and why not eat them?
Were the actual livestock left alone?
DM, were the actual livestock left alone?
With Conquest?
Yes.
I would say that, from what you know, livestock wasn't necessarily targeted, but there wasn't an avoidance or, livestock did die, especially with the third horseman.
Yeah.
Which is crops dying.
I would say, with Conquest, it seems more like collateral damage than his actual target.
Was there any other survivors in your village?
No. Well, no.
But he presumed you were dead.
I assume so. I'm assuming that's the only reason I'm still here.
Well, we can at least know that there is some weakness, some version of pride or belief that they had slain someone, though they were unable to successfully do so. So they can't detect life or death as easily as perhaps maybe a god can. They don't know your soul still inhabiting your body, so we can at least ascertain they're not omnipotent in any manner.
I would say, Kurtz, your impression would not be it's a god.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously not what you guys are, but you would assume it'd be somewhere in the middle, that it's not. I mean, you wouldn't have the assumption that they're immortal even.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know for sure, but they don't seem like they just do whatever they want with no consequence. They can't be stopped.
It expressed rage. It actually didn't know I was there until I struck it with the axe. And then it turned and attacked me out of spite, rage, disgust, who knows, but it did seem to display joy and emotion, so...
Well, it definitely then must have a greater goal in mind, I suppose. It got what it wanted, either satisfaction from slaughter or from at least believing it had eradicated all living creatures, humanoids in the area. But it does seem that at least the death, it looks to be, the focus is the death of our kind, those that have, at least to some of our knowledge, an awakened presence, a mind, a spirit, some form of conscious, separate from a beast, for instance.
Yeah, I think, Rin, you could come to the conclusion that the target was humanity.
Intelligent life.
Yeah, exactly.
So if that is the target, and if they have consistently been trying to target, I do believe that perhaps the bastions we have made right now, the gatherings of all the remaining populace here on Candoria, will be the next target. And by having us in one close spot to grab and get, it certainly makes it easier for them to reach us. But that also does mean that we know where they will appear. They're most likely going to immediately target one of the bastions, one of the cities. So if we make sure to have every means to be able to get to one of those cities promptly and be able to effectively make sure that those inside the cities have a means to escape, should it prove that there is very little we can do at the first attempt to try and stop or delay this creature, we can at least try to save as many lives as we can at this time. And if we do see that the target is able to successfully maybe perhaps eradicate a city in a blow, which I pray is not the case, but if they are able to completely decimate populous center like that, then I would definitely say a call to fleeing into the countryside would be the best solution to counter that.
What are you thinking, Finley? You've been quiet.
Right. Well, I've been thinking about a couple things there. Person who's speaking to me, I guess Ivan, perhaps. Yeah, sure. Thinking about my own question here for a bit. Kind of a two-parter here for the table. Does anyone really recall precisely why the goddesses left in the first place?
It's a mystery.
What do you guys think is the reason?
Well, I mean, it could be a number of things. I mean, it could be something so simple as maybe they foresaw this death and destruction and knew that there was nothing they could do about it, or, and I sure as fuck hope not this is the case, but if they knew it was coming and did nothing about it, in fact letting it happen is probably the worst case scenario there. But
peace.
I'd really like to hope perhaps that's not the way the goddesses work, but they say the goddesses work in mysterious ways, so perhaps there was any number of reasons. Perhaps the world was becoming too overpopulated. Perhaps they thought it was too selfish in its ways and needed a cleansing of its own, but out of their own hand. Lots of devious and evil perceptions to that. But I mean, I could just keep going on and on, but not really knowing much of anything. What really strikes some sort of questioning to my own case is if they knew it would happen and let it happen. Because the second part to that question is, if the Horsemen came because the divine goddesses left, isn't really our end game here perhaps not just survival, but trying to bring them back? Because if they were the stalwart for them coming in the first place, well then perhaps finding a way to not only see why they left, but also bringing them back would be our end game. But that only works if the reason they left in the first place was for their own selfish horseman cleansing reasons. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
It doesn't matter why they left. They left us to fend for ourselves.
Well, not
another good question to ask Tavaria.
Good luck.
How would one go about trying to bring the goddesses back, though, if they are the answer?
I do have a quandary about you, Finley. You might know this a bit more than I do. When did those blue balls appear? Have they been around for centuries, or are they recent?
Just dropping all our secrets there, Ren.
Yeah.
This is not a secret, Ergra, considering the fact that this is a gift from the Grand Masters themselves, who have not only had it but understood it.
Fire and Ironside and what's his face don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of definitions to blue balls, but the orbs that you're talking about here, more specifically, truth be told, Rin, as I think I mentioned to you all before, these were more or less just stories that my parents told me when I was little. I didn't even know that they were actually even a thing. They were myth, they were stories, they were legends, and it wasn't only until I went out and tried to seek these orbs of my own and gathered little bits of information in my travels that, I thought maybe there was one here, and I catch a whisper of one being there, and then always ending up at dead ends and false turns here. But it wasn't until recently where not only did I see one, but actually, in a store of all fucking places. But as you mentioned here, Grandmaster having one at the simulation. I mean, that's the first time I progressively moved on to actually seeing one firsthand for the first time in my 20 years of travel.
Well, I think that if anybody has any secret information, this may be the best time to bring it up. I think we all need to be on the same page as far as we need to know as much as we can, and if there's anything anybody knows that may help.
Are we still telepathic?
Nope.
Then I'm keeping my mouth shut.
You can
look. All I'm saying here is let's play the favored card here, right? The divine goddess is left for whatever fuck reason. Let's say it was with the best intentions or whatever their intentions were, and these horsemen happen to come in their absence because we don't have our divine gates at the door, if you will. Let's just say, for the sake of conversation here, our best chance of survival in endgame is trying to figure out a fucking way to bring them back, if that's what's keeping all the bad shit out in the first place. Now, again, not leading down the nasty path of they left with their own selfish reasons and knowing that this would happen and let it happen anyway. Let's just push that off to the side for a moment and just focus on the positive here. If they left and our gatesmen are gone and the bad shit comes in, how do we get the gatekeepers back, if you will?
Finley, that is, I feel, a good route of thought, but we have 4 days and no leads on that particular route. And so perhaps if we survive this next horseman, that is something we can work on in the next 5 years. But without any definite leads, I feel like there's just better uses of our time.
Well, there might be one way to get a lead from that. I've tried not to necessarily explore this yet, but there is one spell in my arsenal that I can utilize to try and get more answers.
Siphon will be very curious to hear what that is.
It allows me to be able to ascertain information about legendary objects, places, or creatures of certain, existence around the world that we might know of, or at least have some evidence of them. I might be able to ascertain more about the horsemen with it, as well as perhaps the origin and or use of your orbs, Finley, as well as any other thing of notable worth that has been at least passed down from tale to tale, or that sort of thing.
All right, side note, is that the Legend Lord spell? Like, did you actually take that? That's amazing, dude.
I did take
I've always wanted to take that, and I don't know why I did with Philly, but that's awesome. Okay, cool. I've never seen it used before.
If you four want to take a recess and you four go talk on the the other balcony or whatever to talk about what you guys want to talk about in front of them, that's completely fine.
Well, I mean, while we're here, I mean, we got Ironside and Grimtoe and fucking Fire Lion over here. So far it's been us four, and I've been having these conversations with a Sivan crossing. It'd be really interesting, really fucking interesting to see, what our Dwarven and our Bane and Shrouded contributors here have to add to the conversation. Besides, no offense or nothing, hiding in your own little civilizations and not fucking helping at all. But just saying.
We're doing the same thing, Finley. Don't point fingers.
Yeah, but we're offering to work with them, and all they've done is sit here the whole time, and I'll put my stern face on for a minute. Okay. Just be really stern.
Well, Finley, we're here, aren't we? We're here to see if there's anything that we can do to help. We have our first priority is protecting our own people, which is what you are doing.
I'm protecting all people, whoever you are saying that. Which one of the three is saying that?
That's what we're here. Is there anything that Candoria needs us to do? And I'm not saying
who's saying that. Which one?
That's how all three.
Oh, they're all three.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
all three are saying that.
Well, Grimtoe kind of just follows Ironside's lead because he's the leader.
Got it.
But yeah, that's what Fire and Ironside are portraying. That their number one priority is their own, but they're here pretty much. Ivan is in way over his head. Siphon is worried about the Revenant. You know, so you guys are kind of the only representation of the Kandorian people here. So
got it.
Oh God.
They didn't say this. I'm just explaining it to you guys. So if there's, or just humanity in general, so they're all going to stay in their own things unless there's certain things that you can bring up behalf of everyone else.
Master Siphon, would you be willing to provide the Shroud and the Bane, each with a handful of wizards able to communicate with the sending spell?
Yes, absolutely. When should we have them ready?
As soon as possible.
Immediately?
Okay.
Well, they should be in their appropriate assigned positions at least prior to the day of our guest arrival.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Is there anything else that the Revenant can do?
How many people can actually use the teleportator pads at once? How efficient are they?
It's one at a time, but there's no cooldown. It could just be like one. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Shit. So
and at a sheer curiosity here, let's just play a little horseman game here, and I'm a horseman coming here to kill everything that I look at.
Yeah. I love role playing.
Also known as Kurtz Glatskin. Are we playing our hands here? That thinking that this horseman might either show up in Candoria proper, Bane Central Station, and Shroud Town? Are we like kind of basing it off of one of those three? Because if that's the case, I mean, is there any sort of way now that the teleportation circles are up, and I kind of think I understand where Urga's going with that. You know, if we have, scouts up and wizards up and sending and things, isn't there a way to, max exodus, the whole population of a town from one to another, and at the same time switch gears and get adventurers over to where the horseman is in a flip-flop, if you will? I mean, do we have any way of doing that? I'm throwing that out on the table. Is that too crazy? I'll just look around at everyone.
No, I from what I would say, yes, we can use the teleportation circles to at least send our forces into the direction we need them to go. However, again, this is one of the things where I don't think we should all put our eggs in one basket necessarily. We should certainly try and see if there's a way that we can at least minimize the risk of losing everything in one fell swoop.
Or at the very least, if there's a sighting of a horseman and mass exodusing people out of a city, giving them enough time and holding them off to not only save the mass amount of life, but also do your thing of learning a little bit about the horsemen and a strategic retreat at the same time.
Yes, absolutely.
So, would you want to? So there's the. You guys don't know the amount, but the amount of adventurers who do the pledge. Would you want to say divide them into 3 and have like a third of them at each one to be that stalling fort? Like, how do you? They're open to any of your guys' input for overall strategy and use of force.
How many teleportation circles are there in the world?
Yes.
The main ones are going to be at the primary areas, but there may be other ones like there's one at the Temple of the Divine, or like the old temple, like the rundown one. So there are some at other places.
Do we know how large population-wise Candoria proper is compared to, like, say, the capital of the Shroud or the Bane, or is there one very obviously largest epicenter of people?
Probably Candoria would have the most because there's a lot of people who, from other villages that come into Candoria. Right. So there's more of a diversity. So I would say general population would be higher, but there's still lots of villages and gatherings and stuff all around.
We decimated one. on the way here. Randy lap.
Yeah, there are still many places of people, and I think their first, say their village guy. Dilly. Thanks, Alex.
Dilly.
Their probably first instinct would, if their place was overrun, would be to come to Candoria proper.
All right. I think we need to we need to know the number of teleportation pads there are in existence. We need to know the locations of ones that we could at least send people to on the mass exodus. We don't want them coming to the cities. We want them to go to locations necessarily the bastions. We need them to go to like the old temple or wherever perhaps other teleportation paths might lead to an empty space, an open area. Rather than putting everyone, let's say, back into Candoria proper, we spread them out into other locations.
Ivan will say that the old temple might be a really good spot actually for people to go to, because it's kind of in ruins now, so it doesn't, from an outsider looking in, it doesn't look like a place people would be.
Right. Then at least send a few Revenant, maybe about, I'd say, a group of 5 or 10 at least, into that location to make sure they can keep a good eye out, a scout around to see if they can detect anything coming towards that or anything to be alerted to, as well as for us to be able to send messages to them to let them know that there is going to be a surplus of people arriving, and to hopefully direct them and protect them into a nearby shelter that they can scout out in the time to be a suitable temporary home.
Okay.
And send them there during this time before the actual arrival of the Horsemen. Gather ourselves as the emergency bunker, in a sense. For the rest of them, we should make sure that every single person is able to be distributed towards the main centers in a good, even fashion. Spread ourselves wide to make sure that we're able to capture wherever we need to be at that time. Of course, whatever we have as forces, I don't necessarily know. You'll have to go through the numbers yourselves with all the strengths that you have from each tribe. But for whatever we have, we shall make sure to at least evenly defend what we can. Revenants spread out as one can do to also provide messages and to provide magics to either support or delay this creature.
Okay.
Now, when it does arrive, we will need to make sure that there is a line of communication directly sent towards us. We shall stay at the heart of Candoria in the meantime. If that is supposedly the most likely target because it has the largest populace, we should be in the right spot at least to start. But just in case their plans might be different, we'll be able to immediately move. I'll be able to at least go to each of those spots, and I will find a means to be able to teleport there immediately, so that we can at least send our forces directly.
Rin, would you be comfortable with overseeing the delegation of all of these wizards who are going to be the ones doing the communication and the teleportating and all that stuff? Would you be okay with overseeing that? Okay.
Sure, I shall be happy to oversee.
Okay. Is there any other roles that you other three want to take when this endeavor unfolds?
Well, lead the men. Done it before.
We'll be free to do that if you're staying with us, Kurtz.
Finley, do you know a good selection of bards and other minstrels in your own circle?
I mean, I'm sure I could peruse the town. It was kind of on my list of to-dos before we all meet the end of the week, as it were, but I could certainly try to find some inspirational folk around town. We all met one the other day. I was meaning to talk to him anyway. A Dorfus there, that mullet banjo wielding bastard. But anyway, some other folks perhaps around town, and I've been around the block. There might be some other people in some other towns I might be able to maybe send a message here or there to inspire some folks. Keep their spirits.
Do you think, well, yes, spreading spirits and keeping people on the upbeat is certainly important, and I believe that they will be a key to making sure that people are comfortable in wherever they're being sent. But could you perhaps, since they are widespread and usually very noticeable and recognized in their location, can you spread word of either a musical piece or something that you can compose that you can at least share with all of them, that all the city people will know, and as the bards spread out and they hear this music playing, or they hear this round or this sound going, they'll be able to copy it and spread it continuously. So basically almost kind of like a ripple effect. When one person hears the strumming of a lute or the tooting of a flute in that particular rhythm, pattern, or anything like that, it's able to then be immediately sound blasted throughout the city, allowing you to create an alert system, a means for them to know what to do, if this is a flee, hide, cover, anything like that. And then we can easily tell them that this is the melody, choose this melody as the means. If you hear the bards playing this on this day, this is what you should do.
If I may recommend the one for hiding. Dun, 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 dun.
Jaws.
Right. I mean, I'm sure we could work something up here. I could ponder about it a bit and think of some different chords and things. But yeah, I mean, I don't see that being much of a problem. An alarm system of. All right. And I'll just like sit back. I've been waiting this whole time. I'm gonna pull out my cane pipe. I'm gonna start smoking now because I've been waiting this whole time. I've been waiting patiently. I'm gonna start smoking that thing now.
So good.
Are you
Not the heavy shit that Puck gave me.
Okay,
Just
that's
the
what I was
regular old,
gonna ask.
yeah, just the regular shit.
Okay.
Start puffing.
Okay. Any other preparations that you guys feel would be appropriate?
Urgra, are you able to perhaps oversee and create a secure location in the ruins? I mean, you being able to understand nature, and since it might have overtaken much of the grounds, you might be able to ascertain the strongest places to at least, hold and bunker down in, as well as perhaps the local fauna and flora that might be able to provide sustenance for a large populace that will be suddenly arriving there.
I could certainly try.
Okay.
So you're sticking me with some freaking...
Why did dubstep come to my mind? By the way, is that okay?
Is that what's playing on the stream?
So stupid.
Okay,
fucking dubstep. Anyway.
We have Andrew will oversee Revenant's
Communications and teleportation.
support. Finley will communicate with the bards what music to play. Connor wants to go to the Temple of the Divine area to secure a retreat spot, maybe?
Yep, pretty much organize.
Okay. And then Dylan, what responsibilities did you say you wanted?
I'll lead and coordinate the militia, adventurers, and soldiers and things of that nature.
Okay.
They'll basically have a be a man montage from Mulan.
Okay. Okay.
Be a man. Swing your sword and kill some shit. Be a man.
Okay.
That's the whole song. It's just that.
That's it. Be a man.
You have to repeat a common theme.
Okay.
It's not rocket science.
I mean, it's when it comes to battle tactics, it's just a simple pattern. It's just a simple.
Try not to die.
All right, man. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta kill the person in front of you. How? That's a stupid question. Next question.
Use the pointy end.
The pointy end.
You just by asking that question, well, that guy's dead.
And the guy pulls out a bat. I don't have a pointy end.
It's fine. It's fine. You can make their own bones pointy ends on the inside of their body.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Shut up, soldier. Do you want to die?
This is what Kurtz has to work with. The farmers' militia.
Okay.
All right.
So
the plan here is we have an alarm system where certain alarms mean certain things, right?
Yes.
We got Rin on communication duty. So the communication duty is like, hey, there's a horseman, and he's going to communicate that to another wizard, and then that's when the wizard tells a bard to play a song. Is that what we're going with here? Is that like the course of the
Pretty much.
When the wizard spots something, when anyone spots anything, they will immediately convey it to the nearest revenant or whoever might be nearby. They shall send the message to me immediately at the location that they are at. At that same time, when they immediately begin the ripple, bards will be given the notice, the first nearest bard to start to play, and as the music immediately triggers, any bard within the nearby vicinity that hears it will continue to pick it up. And as the city, it'll ripple and spread until the whole city's bards will start playing the actual the appropriate tune.
Okay.
And that shall notify the denizens there immediately what to do.
Okay.
This would only affect like the city that's under attack.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And I'll lead all the terrified young men and women to their deaths.
Okay.
Right, perfect.
Kurtz, you can try and tell them to go through the teleportation pads if we want to send a large force, but perhaps we might want to just send a reconnaissance for the first one.
Oh, yes, of course. We'll send the adventurers first, and then they should be able to at least occupy long enough for the rank and file soldiers to come in.
And for the populace to flee as well. I think perhaps populace fleeing to occupy the teleportation might be the priority before the infantry come in.
Indeed, I think it is important for the men to know that they're not there to win, they're there to buy time.
Alex said different instruments mean different locations of danger. That's not a bad idea.
I like it. Alex and I are on the same page in thinking, because I was just thinking to myself too, so when a bard plays a song in a city, one song means that the attack is here, find shelter, and another one is the attack is
there
somewhere else. And
well, it's really just a bard would only play if the attack is in that city, and they will let the people know whether the strategy is to hide, to go to the teleportation area, to batter down.
Right.
That's about it.
Right. So I really need bards in all three cities, but only one city is going to be playing songs.
Yes, we just need you to use your connections with all the bards that you know of, or at least be able to, I guess, pally-pal with. I'm assuming that just much as music can be a fire as rumor and gossip is, I believe a catchy tune, if you can come up with one, would be easily able to spread like wildfire to all the other minstrels in the land, and they can pick up on it easily. And then when the people are notified with flyers or brochures to say, if you hear this tune, have the bards even play it as an example. Do drills, do some tests as you actually go throughout the festival, and have them be played, and people, tell them this is the flight song, and then they just play the flight song, or like, this is the hide song, and this is your hide song.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
So I need a lot of Pied Pipers, is that what you're saying? The old fabled tune here, but not mice, for children and people and survivors. Right, got it, okay.
And I can think of no one better than you at this task, Finley.
Yes, you're playing to my heartstrings there, Rin. You know exactly what buttons to push when it comes to fluffing my ego. So yes, thank you. Yes, you've come to the right bard. Yeah, you're right.
I think you prefer me stroking your ego, but either way works.
Both work. As long as you're doing something to my ego, it feels good. Yeah. As long as it feels good to my ego, we're good.
Yes. I can handle your blue balls and stroke your ego at the same time.
Beautiful. Multitasking.
Yes. I do have two hands.
So the plan here is wherever the bad stuff is, to get the people the fuck out and bring the cavalry in for enough time to get all the people out, perhaps even push the horsemen back, but at the very least try to get as many survivors as we can. So plan A is a survivalist strategic retreat. That's what we're going for? As I look around the table again, is that the plan?
Until we gather enough information to know what our next step is. I think so.
To see them firsthand for ourselves?
Yes, if we can confront the horsemen initially at first, just to see their strengths, you might be able to send illusions out towards them, fool them, make them think that there might be other things waiting, or to maybe even assume that there might be forces or other targets for them to go for, and we can see perhaps firsthand the choice of weapon or magic that they might employ to be able to get their job done. Once we are at least able to witness the power and the might that they are able to wield, we can then, at least successfully try and find a way to stop or counter that. Okay. But if I perhaps bring you there, Finley, you might be able to make the illusion of populace or the illusion of an army standing at the gates.
And I kind of had a similar thought there, Rin. The only thing that we do know, and this is still a 50-50 shot, we don't know location, right? And we don't know exactly what this horseman is all about, but we do have a pretty good indication here that it's coming on the 7th day, right? And if I'm not mistaken, we don't necessarily know the time of day, right? Morning, afternoon, evening. We just have a pretty good hunch of things coming on this day, yes?
Somewhere on that day.
Right. I mean, is it out of the realm of possibilities here for us, to prepare the people as much as possible? Sure, but, let's not use them completely as fish bait here, and at least have them at the ready to flee, not just going about their daily lives, making fucking bread and things, and then, oh, by the way, here's the song, it's time to go. I mean, could we not just have everyone at the ready to flee or to receive people at a moment's notice here, or do we just want everyone going about their daily lives until death comes at their city and at their door.
A daily life is best. You don't want to incite panic into every city. Only the one that needs to be alert and ready to go when it happens is the one that needs to be on their toes, in a sense.
Because going along with the bards playing songs here, that's easy enough to do. But again, going along with the illusions of things, we can certainly try to make it look like there's armies and things at the ready here. But I mean, again, I don't necessarily want to overplay our hand here either in terms of a horseman just not showing up where we want him to at all. I mean, unfortunately, it almost sounds like we're using the populace as bait in the first place here.
Well, it's not necessarily bait. I mean, if you
they're
wanted
going to die one way or another. We're just trying to mitigate casualties.
If you truly wanted to, I believe that the people will not be able to fend for themselves if they spread out immediately. If everyone made a mass exodus now towards the countryside, they would have no direction. They would have no supply means to be able to survive out there. Not many of them know how to hunt and gather for themselves to be able to not only sustain themselves and their families. That's a problem in and of itself. We can't just expect them to, not have what is the bastion of civilization try to defend them.
No, all I was saying is that, we have these revenant ready with sending messages and bards playing songs or whatever, but if we just have all the populace of the city at the ready to go through these teleportation circles or to receive people coming in, I mean, I just think that makes more sense instead of having everyone, the kids playing on the playground and, oh, well, here comes the song of death. It's time to run for the teleportation circle. Not everyone's going to make it. Can't they all just be at the ready to flee or receive at a moment's notice here? That's the only thing we seem to know is the day. They can at least be prepared for it.
I do agree with Finley in that I don't think the date of this upcoming Horseman is a particularly large secret.
I think they'll be ready one way or another, honestly.
Actually, there is the third song you need to have them ready for Finley.
Pray to their god?
One is to flee to the teleportation pad. One is to hunker down and hide. The other is to spread into the countryside. For perhaps if you tried to tell them to return to the pad, that the pad itself is occupied by the horsemen, then you're just leading them straight to the slaughter.
All right.
It's better for them to at least be somewhat distributed out, just in case. Finley, what was that spell that you sent down from the heavens to kill that hornet?
The meteor swarm of amazing. Yeah, right.
If you had the populace all waiting by the teleportation circle and someone sent one of those down straight on them, what would happen?
Well, at least we know where the horseman's attacking there, wouldn't we? I know, that's a terrible joke.
For the briefest of times, and we wouldn't be able to use the teleportation circle to even send people through there to get either to help for reinforcements or to flee. If they do target the teleportation circles, if they're able to know that we have these in store, then they will have to know they have to just flee straight out into the countryside at that point. And we will have to use other means to be able to teleport there without using the circles. But at least we have contingencies, things in case if one thing falls, the other has to come into place.
All right. Well, you better get on printing out those pamphlets there, brother, because we got a lot of brochures to be printing.
Oh, those I can print thousands of copies in a night.
We have 3 cities to print brochures for, so we got to get cracking here.
3 capitals. There's plenty more cities than that.
I mean, there's the general populace, too. I mean, you could make a stack and give instruction to distribute these worldwide,
Yes.
Well, exactly. I got to tell you, I feel a lot better about our situation than we first walked in. Truth be told, I don't really remember walking in too much, but now that I've got the cobwebs cleared out a bit, I mean, it's not necessarily the plan to end all plans and save the day and save the world and kill a horseman, but, I mean, it's a plan to save lives and perhaps even gain a little bit of knowledge in the hindsight, and I can't really see much of a better one, to be quite honest with you, in terms of circumstances.
Okay.
Well, there is one more thing I was considering.
Okay.
If my hunch about this new horseman being related to necromancy somehow is right, perhaps it'd be good for all of us to go through another simulation against a creature that is specifically focused on the undead.
Certainly couldn't hurt.
Sorry, Rin, what'd you say?
No, so it couldn't hurt. I mean, training and practicing is certainly something we should be doing to at least not only perfect our skills, but to also master teamwork amongst ourselves.
Okay.
I'd be all right with that. Go ahead, Erner. What are you saying now?
No, I have nothing more to input.
Well, perhaps on tomorrow morning we can try and see if we can get one of the simulations set up so we can actually engage a creature of such necromantic natures, I suppose.
Okay.
Why not?
I mean, unless anyone has any other sort of better plans, I gotta be quite honest. This is the one that at least has the better bearings of life preservation, and I mean, as you know, the old saying of live to fight another day, I think is the card we're playing here in terms of survivalist, strategic retreat, and try to save as many lives as we can and be better prepared for round 2. Is that in accordance here?
Once we immediately send ourselves out, we will ascertain the strength of this creature and then make a battle plan after we have at least gained. If we can defeat it in that day, then absolutely. But if we have a good sense of knowing that we shouldn't be able to defeat it now and we're losing, we should absolutely retreat and regather ourselves and try to see if we can come up with a better plan.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about or ask or anything?
Hashtag Bandit Clan for life.
Let's get those fuckers back in here. Yeah, let's put them. What's that called? Fodder. What's that called?
Cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder. Yeah, let's get.
I mean, I'll look to Ivan and I'll ask him: is there a reason why Tavaria didn't attend this meeting?
There wasn't a reason in particular.
Do you know if she's at the temple currently?
She should be, I think, yeah.
She lives there.
All right, then.
Okay. So I think this is a good preliminary plan. Plans often don't go as you expect.
Yes.
But it's better to have one than to not.
Great, that's a great vote of confidence from the TM. It's always nice to have a plan, even though it's probably gonna fucking fail.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I gotta be honest. I think that's our best course of action here is for round 1 of this thing, and I gotta be honest with you. At least we have the knowledge and the brains here to realize that this isn't. For all sake and purposes, this isn't a sprint. This is going to be a marathon if we're going to win this thing. It's more than one round, and knowing that going in, if like Rin said, if we can do it in one, that's fucking amazing. But let's be honest with ourselves here. If we learn anything from the previous ones, knowing that this is going to be more than one occurrence is probably the smartest thing that we could possibly be doing. And let's try to save lives if we can, and move on to round 2 and come better prepared to send this thing back to where the fuck it came from.
Okay. Awesome. All right, we will end our session there, guys. Good game. Good job.
Okay.
And we will. So Ivan will, dismiss the War Council meeting, and you guys can, go off to bed or whatever, and then. So we'll pick up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, you can do that too. But we'll pick up next week, right where we left off here with the meeting being over. So thanks everybody so much for watching our episode with us.
Thank you for watching.
Back!
We're back. Yes.
Yeah, we're back. Oh yeah.
So tune in next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific at this channel to check out what they're gonna do next. We have all of our episodes up on YouTube, so if there's anything you've missed, go back and check it out. On Sundays, we have another campaign. AJ?
Yes, at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, PM, you can join us for Ages Past, where we have another set of adventurers that I DM for. Connor here being one of them that we share across the 2 games, and of course 3 others, which I know you'll have a blast watching. And of course, anytime you spend there, you can accumulate HotA points that you can then spend here for Tuesday. So win-win all around. Come and catch us then.
Perfect.
Check out our Discord link. It's the bottom of our Twitch page. We'd love to hear from you guys. We talk about the game, and you guys can ask questions, and we love to hear about your guys' D&D stories. This is a great game that all of us love playing, and we love sharing stories. So
yes, join the Discord. Anyone who's followed or subscried, get in there. It's
Give
fun.
some battle plan hints. Try to fork the DM with us. Let's all verse the DM together.
Leroy.
You're all
He has
going
an
down.
entire team.
Yeah, so give us a follow. It really helps us out, and that way you guys can get notified when we go live. But thanks again for being a part of the HotA family, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
See you next week. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.